Chairwoman Vargas and members of the board, today we have an update for you on the county's response to the historic rains and resulting flooding from January 22nd of this year and associated actions moving forward. At the board's direction, your county team has taken unprecedented actions in the wake of the flood disaster to help our community when they need us most. For the first time, the county established an emergency temporary lodging program, or ETL, to house those whose homes were impacted by floods. We have also implemented a food program to provide meals to those in our lodging program. We have a community outreach team and a call center to facilitate coordinated messaging and communication with our partners, as well as the individuals and families utilizing these temporary programs. Working closely on a daily basis with FEMA, Cal OES, the national voluntary organizations, active in disaster, and local housing authorities, we have been working on transitioning these families to the ongoing support available to them. The county's ETL program has been instrumental in aiding individuals as they transition into FEMA programs, find new permanent housing, or work toward repairing their homes to ensure their safety upon return. We have created dashboards updated weekly on our recovery website, so this information is accessible and transparent to the public. Moving forward, we look to our local partners in the City of San Diego, the City of National City, and their housing commissions to pick up the baton we are passing as we move from the initial emergency and its aftermath of recovery into the longer-term housing needs of the individuals within their respective jurisdictions. Today, you will hear a presentation from the team that will cover what we have been doing as the county, what we will now be looking to other jurisdictions to provide as we move forward, and what we propose to continue for those in our housing authority jurisdiction. I want to thank the more than 300 county team members who have been working tirelessly on these programs. We are proud of supporting the community during these difficult times. I will turn it over to Jeff Toney to begin our staff presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. Today we will update you on the county response and recovery efforts, and we will offer recommendations for your board's consideration. Joining me in this presentation will be Recovery Manager for this disaster, Dan Vasquez, and David Estrella, Director of Housing and Community Development Services. On January 22nd, the day of the flooding disaster, the American Red Cross set up shelter locations to support impacted residents. That same day, the county issued a proclamation of local emergency requesting state and federal disaster assistance. The following day, the governor proclaimed a state of emergency, and on February 19th, the Biden administration approved a major disaster declaration. These actions brought state and federal assistance to supplement local recovery efforts. The county began gathering damage reports through a survey tool and soon opened a local assistance center where nearly 40 government and non-governmental agencies offered services to residents impacted by the storm. The local assistance center at the Spring Valley Library served over 1,300 families. County staff were also on site at the city's local assistance center, providing connections to services and assisting over 1,000 families. On January 30th, the board approved $10 million to fund relief efforts and approved a short-term sheltering program to provide hotel rooms as emergency temporary lodging for residents displaced by the storm. On March 12th, the board approved an additional $6.6 million to continue the non-congregate sheltering, also known as the county's Emergency Temporary Lodging Program. The board also approved $3 million to feed the lodging program participants 3 meals a day for 60 days. The week following the historic floods, the Office of Emergency Services coordinated a large-scale joint preliminary damage assessment. Damage inspectors from FEMA and the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services verified $30.8 million in local government damages, both in the unincorporated area and affected cities. These damages include the repair of roads, parks, water control facilities, various municipal buildings and equipment, as well as debris removal, erosion control, and response personnel overtime costs. County staff is actively working with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services to submit projects for reimbursement of up to 75% under the California Disaster Assistance Act. The Major Disaster Declaration authorized FEMA's Individual Assistance Program, which, as of April 22nd, has distributed over $22.2 million to flood survivors. As of April 22nd, nearly 29 applicants received FEMA Individuals and Households Program monetary awards, and more than 1,500 applicants received FEMA's rental assistance. San Diegans have also received $5.7 million in disaster CalFresh funds. County Self-Sufficiency Services worked with federal and state partners to provide a one-time payment for families to purchase food. Additionally, the county received approval to allow CalFresh recipients to buy hot or prepared meals with their EBT cards. The U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA, has approved 536 low-interest disaster loans for individuals and businesses that suffered losses from the storm, totaling up to $32 million. The SBA deadline for loan applications is May 4th. Our recovery manager, Dan Vasquez, will now provide an overview of our regional recovery coordination. Dan?
On January 22nd, as people were forced to flee their homes and neighborhoods, the American Red Cross opened shelters at the Lincoln High School Gymnasium in San Diego and the Bostonia Recreation Center in El Cajon. Red Cross volunteers provided displaced people with beds, meals, crisis counseling, medical assistance, and support for pets through the San Diego Humane Society. Other community-based organizations also stepped in to provide shelter and supplies immediately after the disaster. Those organizations that provided rooms include the San Diego County Office of Education, the San Diego Housing Commission, the Jackie Robinson Family YMCA, the Chicano Federation, and National City through SBCS. Additionally, dozens of community-based organizations mobilized into the San Diego Disaster Relief Collaborative and the Southeastern Disaster Response Team and took on new roles. On behalf of the entire region, the county has mobilized over 300 county employees during these recovery efforts to support residents in all impacted jurisdictions. This includes bilingual staff who have been engaging in direct outreach to residents, including nights and weekends, to support with enrollment into county self-sufficiency programs, facilitate access to FEMA individual assistance, and answering questions as it relates to the county emergency temporary lodging and food programs. Additionally, nearly 80 county staff from 26 county departments have been temporarily reassigned to the county's Emergency Operations Center to provide program operations, support, monitoring, and oversight. In addition to supporting the City of San Diego in setting up their own local assistance center, the County of San Diego has taken unprecedented actions in providing services to residents of other local jurisdictions. As defined by state law, in its role as the operational area coordinator, the county is responsible for managing and coordinating information, resources, and priorities among local governments within the operational area, and serves as the coordination and communication link between local government and state partners. It is each local government that is responsible for managing and coordinating the overall emergency response and recovery activities within their jurisdiction. However, in this disaster, the county acted as the sole governmental lead in carrying out emergency temporary lodging and feeding for residents displaced by the storm. As of April 22nd, 644 households consisting of nearly 2,000 individuals remained in the county's emergency temporary lodging hotel program. Nearly 84% of these impacted households are from the City of San Diego. 7% are from the City of National City, and 6% are from the unincorporated area. The remaining 3% are residents from 7 other cities in our region. As most of the households in the county's emergency temporary lodging program are from the City of San Diego, county staff have been working with partners at the city since the storm began and continue to do so in various ways to communicate intentions and responsibilities. Oftentimes, county staff were in contact with multiple teams from the city on the same day. The date in red on the slide is the date of the storm, January 22nd. The dates shaded in green are the days in which county staff have documented coordination with partners at the City of San Diego. Some of the coordination included embedding county staff into the city's Emergency Operations Center, inviting the city to the county's Emergency Operations Center, supplying the city with sandbags, assisting the city in standing up their local assistance center, weekly meetings with the city and volunteer organizations on long-term recovery, twice weekly meetings with the city, Cal OES, and FEMA on FEMA assistance, daily public information coordination calls with the city and other governmental partners, And following the board's 12th board meeting, the county formally notified the city of San Diego of the May 11th end of the emergency temporary lodging program. This was also communicated during coordination meetings with the city and San Diego Housing Commission on how their city residents in the county's emergency temporary lodging program must transition into more permanent solutions after the county's program ends on May 11th. As a recap of the county's emergency temporary lodging program, based upon your board's direction on January 30th, the county emergency temporary lodging program was created and officially launched on February 12th. The emergency temporary lodging program aimed to provide short-term shelter for residents displaced by this storm. Additionally, the program facilitated a timely transition for households once FEMA individual assistance funds became available and allowed housing authorities time to identify alternative housing solutions. The county stood up the emergency temporary lodging program to provide unprecedented investment into under-resourced communities within a local jurisdiction's area of responsibility and is consistent with the board's priority of advancing equitable outcomes for our region's most underserved. At the peak of recovery operations, this disaster response included sheltering 896 households, consisting of more than 2,600 people in as many as 68 hotels, which brought both logistical and communication challenges that were new to emergency management and disaster recovery in the region. The board allocated $3 million for food services, and the county has partnered with local community-based organizations and Uber Eats to deliver meals, offering residents flexibility and support. Food support was offered to all households in the county's emergency temporary lodging program beginning on March 22nd. As of April 26th, the county has issued nearly $1.9 million in food vouchers and has been invoiced over $220,000 from community-based organizations for meals provided to those participating in the emergency temporary lodging program. Most of the spending on food was done through Uber Eats vouchers, issued directly to households. The vouchers are issued digitally on a weekly basis, and amounts are determined by household size and whether the hotel serves breakfast or if other meals are being provided to the household. Based on these factors, a household of one receives either $119 or $178.50 each week, and a household of four receives either $476 or $714 each week. Communication and community engagement efforts have been pivotal in keeping San Diegans informed since the January 22nd storms. Community engagement staff have attended 39 meetings out in the community to receive information and feedback from those impacted by the flood, volunteers, and partners helping with recovery. Community engagement efforts have included direct communication with storm-impacted residents via the county's call center, in person at the hotels, including 32 in-person outreach events, and attendance at multiple meetings of the San Diego Disaster Relief Collaborative. An email distribution list was also created to share out pertinent messaging to interested community stakeholders, such as important disaster assistance deadlines and flyers advertising critical resources available to the residents. Since March 22nd, the county call center, staffed by bilingual county disaster service workers 7 days a week, has responded to more than 2,300 inbound and outbound phone calls, answering residents' questions, providing updates, and assistance as needed. Additionally, the county has contracted with Open Heart Leaders to provide mental and behavioral health support for individuals in the emergency temporary lodging program, including facilitating individual counseling and establishing group therapy sessions on site in hotels. The county has also contracted with Gyra providers to support navigation to behavioral health resources for community residents impacted by the floods. And through the Access and Crisis Line and mobile crisis response teams, County Behavioral Health Services offers immediate support and connects residents experiencing behavioral health challenges to care. The county's Joint Information Center has also kept the community informed in a variety of ways, including through 44 county news center articles and news releases, 35 flyers promoting important resources like the Local Assistance Center, eligibility benefits, and program updates for the Emergency Temporary Lodging Program. The Joint Information Center has also amplified information through 430 social media posts across county and Alert San Diego channels and responded to 116 media inquiries. For more than 2 months, the Joint Information Center has also led a daily call with public information partners from FEMA, Cal OES, the Small Business Administration, and the City of San Diego to pass along mutually beneficial information and to amplify important messages. This disaster response has required the skill and dedication of county employees acting as disaster service workers, nonprofit partners, philanthropic organizations, and countless volunteers, all of whom have been working nonstop since January to support residents impacted by the disaster. This response has required the whole community, and our gratitude extends to all those who have worked tirelessly during this time of need. To respond to this emergency, your board has allocated $19.6 million to community recovery efforts. $16.6 million was allocated for the Emergency Temporary Lodging Program, county response and recovery efforts, including Emergency Operations Center, emergency management consultants, and home repair fee waivers. $3 million was allocated for food service costs. The county has currently spent an estimated $13.9 million of the board's appropriated funds. The projected remaining expenditures for lodging and food is $3.1 million, resulting in a projected unused funds of $2.6 million. Additionally, unbudgeted storm response activities, including county disaster service worker efforts and various infrastructure projects, are projected to exceed $19 million. County staff are pursuing potential reimbursement from the California Disaster Assistance Act for reimbursement of some of the response and recovery costs to the county. County staff will also present a fiscal year 2023-24 third quarter operational plan status letter report to the board on May 21st, which may include requests for budget amendments to accommodate impacts to the budgets in several departments for costs related to the January flooding response and recovery efforts. I will now turn the presentation over to David Estrella, Director of Housing and Community Development Services, to share about the county's approach in providing further support to residents within the county's housing authority jurisdiction.
Thanks, Dan. Good afternoon. The County Housing Authority serves the unincorporated areas and 13 of the 18 incorporated cities. The County Housing Authority is currently working with impacted renters from its jurisdiction that are in the Emergency Temporary Lodging Program and are transitioning back into permanent housing. Transition support includes assessing household status, identifying barriers, assisting with housing plans, and system navigation based on individual household need. As of April 26, 58 out of 68 households have already engaged in transition support. 19 of the households have either already moved into permanent housing or have identified a new unit. Financial assistance, particularly for security deposits and rent, have been identified by households as a significant need. The San Diego Housing Commission, National City Housing Authority, and Oceanside Housing Authority are also working with residents of their jurisdictions to transition from the Emergency Temporary Lodging Program into permanent units. The county is facilitating regional collaboration through twice-weekly meetings between the County Emergency Operations Center team and the housing authorities to share best practices, resource information, and discuss challenges and opportunities. We'll now hear about the recommendations from Dan Vasquez.
The road to recovery is long and arduous. Some members of our community are still unable to return home after the January storms, and FEMA damage inspectors remain in the area inspecting damaged dwellings. The first recommendation is that the board, in reviewing the details presented today, find that there is a need to continue the local emergency proclamation. The second recommendation consists of 4 parts. Recommendation 2A, in alignment with your board's previous actions on March 12th, will end the county's Emergency Temporary Lodging Program and feeding program, but will continue to refer impacted households to FEMA's long-term recovery case management contractor, San Diego Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. Recommendation 2B would establish appropriations of $500,000 in the county's Housing and Community Development Services to provide financial assistance to residents of the San Diego Housing Authority's jurisdiction who are impacted by this disaster and are transitioning out of the county's Emergency Temporary Lodging Program into more permanent housing. Based on initial contacts made by the County Housing Authority's transition team, households are still facing financial barriers to moving into and/or securing permanent housing. If funds are appropriated per this recommendation, the County Housing Authority would provide financial assistance to Emergency Temporary Lodging Program households within the County Housing Authority jurisdiction based on individual need. Payments would be used to cover housing-related costs, such as moving and storage costs, application fees, and/or security deposits. Payments would be for documented, housing-related costs that are not covered or paid for by FEMA individual assistance grants to avoid duplication of benefit. Payments would be made directly to the individual household. The $500,000 was derived from estimated moving expenses of $1,250, application fees of $100, and a security deposit at twice the monthly rent for a two-bedroom apartment as defined by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as the area's fair market rent. Recommendation 2C and 2D support the recommendation of appropriating funds to the county's housing and community development services by allowing the amendment of existing contracts if necessary for the administration of the payments, and finds that this use of funds is necessary to meet the social needs of the population of the region in the areas of health, public safety, and welfare in accordance with Government Code Section 26227. The third recommendation seeks board guidance on the option of providing funding to other local housing authorities in support of their jurisdictional efforts to transition their residents out of the emergency temporary lodging program and into permanent housing. The formula for calculating these amounts is in alignment with option 2B, where average household size, fair market rent, moving costs, and application fees were considered. Similarly, the funds would be used to cover the cost differential between FEMA individual assistance benefits and the actual housing-related costs in the San Diego region. For example, the funding could be used by housing authorities to support residents through housing navigation or with the costs of security deposits, application fees, moving, and storage expenses. Many of these items are eligible uses of FEMA individual assistance, and housing authorities would be required to ensure assistance provided is for costs not paid by FEMA to the individuals. If the board approves the allocation of funding to local housing authorities, county staff recommend a funding match be required of the receiving housing authority. One direction the board could provide is to specify the type of funding match to be required. An in-kind match could include provision of navigation services to assist with helping households find units. The financial match could include providing dollar-for-dollar assistance to the flood-impacted households. For example, the housing authority would cover half of the cost of the assistance provided. Local housing authorities matching county funding would need to spend their jurisdictional appropriations prior to county money to maximize the investment in underserved communities, and this additional investment would only begin after the county's emergency temporary lodging program concludes on May 11th. The chart with data as of April 19th provides two options for allocating county funding to local housing authorities if the board chooses to exercise this option. The first option provides additional funding only for those households who have qualified for FEMA rental assistance. The second option would provide a grant for all households in the county's emergency temporary lodging program. The two considerations include up to $7,016 for each household in a housing authority's jurisdiction and an additional 10% for administrative expenses, with the goal of providing another mechanism to reduce the risk of households from becoming homeless when the county's emergency temporary lodging program ends on May 11th. Our fourth and final recommendation is to reallocate the balance of unused board appropriated funds from the emergency temporary lodging program and the 60-day feeding program to offset a portion of the estimated financial impact from this disaster and direct the balance be applied to today's actions. In summary, for new appropriations, county staff are seeking board approval on a potential allocation of additional funds and contract authority to the county's housing and community development services. Furthermore, policy guidance from the board is requested for the potential provision of financial assistance to local housing authorities to facilitate the smooth transition of their residents from the county's emergency temporary lodging program to longer-term housing. Based on data as of April 19th, the potential allocation of funding for one-time costs could be up to $5.1 million for providing transitional resources to the San Diego County Housing Authority and other housing authorities that would be used to assist flood victims in finding mid- and long-term housing. The funding source would be the general fund reserve, currently below the board's mandated minimum balance, and would require at least 4 votes by the board for any additional appropriations. Though the general fund reserve is expected to be replenished through operating results for fiscal year 2023-24, any further depletion from today's actions may require additional measures to restore it. Chairwoman Vargas, this concludes our presentation, and we are available for your questions.
Thank you. At the chairwoman's direction, we'll now hear from individuals that requested to speak on this item. We have 44 requests to speak, 38 in person, and 6 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak by phone on item 28, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with those in favor of this item. As your name is called, please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'd like to invite forward Council President Sean Elo Rivera, Azucena Valladolid, and Gambler. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio.
All right,
record.
thank you. My name is Sean Elo Rivera. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing this item forward. I first want to start by saying thank you for the investment that the County Board of Supervisors and the County of San Diego has made in the people of San Diego since January 22nd. The impact of those floods, you all are well aware of. It has been heartbreaking to watch folks who did nothing wrong lose everything in just a moment. And they are continuing to try to pick up those pieces, and I am deeply grateful for the investment that the county has made to keep a roof over many of those folks' heads over the last few months. I support the item that is before you because I've seen the way that the county and the Housing Commission can partner together to keep roofs over people's heads. I've heard the Housing Commission work super hard since day one of the floods to provide emergency housing to folks and to begin to plan for moving folks into permanent housing. And I believe with the action in front of you and the expertise at the Housing Commission, we can not make people whole, although I'd like to do that, but ensure that as many folks as possible can find their way into permanent housing. And in the ideal, we'd be able to provide support to folks in perpetuity. But I understand that resources are finite. You all have done a lot. You've gone beyond anything that you've done before to support San Diegans. I am grateful for that and believe this is an elegant way to hand the baton off to the Housing Commission to ensure, again, that folks end up in permanent housing as quickly as possible. So with that, I respectfully urge the board to move this item and approve this item. I will say thank you one more time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. I'm going to remind members of the audience that the rules of procedure do not allow clapping, whistling, stamping of feet, or anything that disrupts these proceedings. So I encourage you to please be mindful of the board's rules of procedure. Next speaker, please.
Hi, good afternoon, board members. My name is Azucena Valladolid. I'm the Executive Vice President of Rental Assistance for the San Diego Housing Commission. We very much appreciate the county's proposal to further assist households displaced by the catastrophic floods that took place in January of this year. However, we respectfully recommend some revisions to the proposal that are necessary for the San Diego Housing Commission to be able to participate in this effort. In response to the floods, the San Diego Housing Commission expended our funds to provide temporary hotel lodging for 331 City of San Diego households for up to 4 weeks. There was an essential bridge for these households until the county launched its emergency temporary lodging program. Many of these households then transitioned to the county's program. The proposal before you today requires a dollar-for-dollar match for the proposed county funding to further assist households. We recommend that you allow the funding and staff time we previously allocated to temporary lodging to apply towards this required match. We also ask for the match requirement to include the in-kind services of our staff currently performing to assist households in the county program. If this change is not made in your action today, the requirements in the county proposal make it highly unlikely for the San Diego Housing Commission to be able to participate in this effort. We are currently providing housing search assistance services for flood-impacted households in the county program based on referrals we receive from the city. allowing us to place flood-impacted households in rental housing units outside of the city of San Diego would provide greater housing choice for families and better assist households to find new rental home in a timely manner. We also recommend expanding the allowed use of county funds to include incentives for landlords to rent to households currently in the county's temporary lodging program. Additionally, we seek the county to allow the use of its funds to provide up to 6 months of rental assistance gap funding for these households.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'll begin calling the speakers in opposition. I'll be calling you groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. Dion Akers, Mark, allegedly Audra, Aaron Swanton, and Christina Lamawi. If I've called your name, please come forward and line up on the east wall. Thank you.
I'm waiting until I can get
I'm going to
attention.
begin your time. This is your time.
Okay, apparently you guys don't need to pay attention to what we have to say.
I'll ask you to please state your name.
Name is Gambler.
Thank you.
Gambler here. When I come into the county to go ahead and request information, the county immediately, matter of fact, Claudia's office immediately hits the panic button, requesting assistance from the cops to escort me off the premises so I cannot ask my questions. So from this point forward, I will be asking the questions here, and I expect you guys to provide me some answers. But regarding this, the severe warning storms, and you assisting the people that you put out onto the streets, I think you need to do more. See, those storms wasn't that big, yet it caused so much damage because you guys chose to spend our money, instead of on infrastructure, on bike lanes, limiting traffic. Matter of fact, I hate the fact that you guys changed the light sequences on the lights coming off of Grape Street, making all the traffic from the airport delayed an ungodly amount. Don't tell me that wasn't done on purpose. I know exactly the street that it was put onto, and I know who you are catering to. I do not understand why you have put rules in play to bring property down. Once that property transfers proper ownership, then you change rules like no more flights after 12 o'clock, no more horn sounds, no more this, no more that. Hey, the traffic that you guys had on this, we're gonna prioritize this and forget about everyone else. See, I don't like that. I don't think the people like that. I don't think you are working for the people, and I'm ready to prove that the next meeting coming up.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Michael knows exactly how I'm going to do that too, don't you?
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Lemoyne. My family resides on Beta Street. I'm here to address the issue of the termination of funds for lodging for flood victims. I could only speak for my own family's experience, and it's sad that we have to live in a complete broken system that appears to be put together. However, light comes to darkness, and that's exactly what the storm did. My family has lived and owned in this property for over 40 years, not including our family who has lived in there before, who we had inherited the property from. So basically, we are rooted. My family has had flood insurance since we had been in that house for over 40 years. The runaround is ridiculous. The bids that we have to get are getting rejected, so we need the time for the lodging. That's the issue. That is the main issue of our progression of our construction, which is preventing our family to be in our home in a timely manner. The lodging that was provided by the city, county, and FEMA weren't simply enough to help with the true needs of the flood victims. And the number states alone, and the percentage is less than 12% that has been housed since the flood funding has been implemented, let alone the ripple effect of stopping the aid creates the homeless population increase. The Housing Commission doesn't have enough rentals to get everyone housed. We have all these developments, but no housing. The city and the county can't supply housing to the homeless now. How are they going to house the people in the system that is in a system that's already tapped out? Time is all we need. All we are asking is an extension on the temporary lodging for the homeowners and the renters to be able to complete the construction on their residents and find new residencies. Again, I am speaking on behalf of the owners. Why relocate funds when it doesn't benefit the owners? We aren't looking for a rental. We are just wanting to fix our house and given the timely manner to do so and have to deal with the insurance. Now, the root of the issue of the storm drains is the maintenance. We already pay homeowner fees. That pays into that. It falls in the responsibility of EPA, San Diego County, and the Naval.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name's Aaron Swanton. I'm with Together San Diego. I'm a flood volunteer. I'm here today to oppose this. This was a great presentation. There's a lot of information that was presented to the board here that I would love to have known about for a while now. One really critical missing piece of this is that although almost 3,000 FEMA applications were approved, there's 4,000 FEMA applications that are in flux. They're either not approved or people are waiting for an answer still. So there's a lot of relief that's still not been given to people. And people need time. SD VOAD is still spinning up. Cleanup efforts are still in play. I don't believe that people have had enough time to put their life back together. And even just getting relief. I'm really grateful to the efforts of the county and this hotel voucher program. The money you guys have allocated has made a huge difference. Thousands of San Diegans have had a place to live for months. And it's vital that they continue to do that. They continue to have a place to live. Everything that's been brought before this board this morning, I've listened to you guys all morning. These same things apply here. We need accountability. We need transparency. There needs to be community involvement in all these decisions. These are people's real lives. So it's vital that there's a community steering group that's a part of any decisions. Obviously, the city of San Diego really needs to step up to the level you guys have stepped up to. You guys have set a bar, and I hope that you guys continue excellence in this. It's important. This is the most important thing before you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Vargas, Honorable Supervisors. My name is Dion Akers. I'm here speaking on item 28. I'm here on behalf of San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria. I'm here to respectfully request that the board extend the county's ETL program beyond the May 11 deadline and work with the affected housing authorities to best serve the 1,940 people that are currently under the County of San Diego's supervision. This request was originally made by the City of San Diego's Chief Operating Officer, Eric Dargan, on April 17th. As you know, the families in the county's ETL program are not persons who are generally experiencing homelessness, but storm victims who were housed prior to the January 22nd storms. It is not the desire of the City of San Diego to have storm victims enter San Diego County's homelessness system, nor be exposed to continued volatility and uncertainty in the months ahead. It's imperative that we offer them as much stability as we can in this time. Since the county made its intentions known that it would be sunsetting the ETL program on May 11th, the City of San Diego and the Housing Commission have dedicated resources to conduct direct outreach to make referrals to participants who are residents of the City of San Diego. We continue to make every effort and attempt to match residents with resources and housing as available. As of yesterday, we are aware of 514 households still in the county-sponsored hotels. The City of San Diego staff have made almost 1,500 calls to ETL participants, resulting in 213 successful contacts and 91 referrals to San Diego Housing Commission's Unit Search Assistance Team. Additionally, the city would like to work with the county to build out a program with the housing authorities that does not inadvertently render any households or individuals ineligible for FEMA housing assistance due to unintentional or undesired duplication of assistance. Again, we respectfully request the county's continued assistance and partnership by extending the ETL program and working with our housing authorities to ensure that none of the January 22nd storm victims become homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mark, first of all, I don't see really anything in any of your efforts that's doing anything to permanently rebuild their houses. What you've done is take homeowners and turn them into renters. It doesn't matter whether you help them for a little while or quite a while. In the end, they're losing their home ownership, their ownership of homes. And in fact, the one flood victim I saw on the news said that she only received a third of what it would cost to repair her place. A loan for a person who's lost their home to a flood is an insult. literally a very bad insult. Also, if you had let's see here, 25, 28. If you had built the cheap 3D structures I recommended for $12 million, that's for 12,000 structures, complete cost, including other areas for eating and solar panels and food, restrooms. You wouldn't even have a problem housing these people now. Now, if you don't stop inflation, you'll never stop this problem anyway. By the way, all these videos are on YouTube or these other two, except for this one. FEMA should not even have the powers it has. There's nothing in our Constitution about a totalitarian, like police state powers in an emergency. That's bullshit. The corporation nation, they've got maybe 40 times as much money in the comprehensive annual financial report, separate from our budget, they'll never tell you about. And so you guys are acting like you don't have money. You could help these people. They're never going to share it with us. They'll say we go bankrupt, and they'll keep it for themselves and their CEOs. This is a scam. It's a very long video. There are sections listed. I'll have to talk about that later. Rosa Corey talks about all this. That's very important. C-Star, 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers. Robert Banks Jr., Michelle Krug, Aaron Suramoto Grassi, Melissa Hernandez, and Flower Alvarez Lopez. If I've called your name, please come forward.
My person uses the name Audra. Sean was in here, and then he left, right? But he gets to speak first. How sweet is that? There's no preferential treatment there. Jim, I'm very proud of you for doing the right thing on the migrant center. But the sad thing is that it's kind of a slap in the face to the people who have, suffered the consequences of your negligence of not keeping up the storm infrastructure. Yes, Jim, yes. It is your fault that these people are suffering. And then it's a slap in the face to be like, should we give them 1, 2, or 3 meals? I don't know. And then these illegals that cross the border illegally, committing a federal offense, get everything under the sun. They're not being kicked out, yet we're sitting here kicking the community out of the hotels and just giving them a bare minimum of what could possibly pretend to help them rebuild. But it's just like Lahaina, this is a land grab, right? Because if these people don't pay their due diligence and what they're supposed to, you can take their land. And what we're not doing is making sure that the people that get these tax breaks or benefits are not people who didn't engage in the storm, who weren't suffering from that. But it's sad to think that people have to come and beg and plead for help in the community, and then we have these illegals that we're like, they're just seeking asylum. Give them everything under the sun. Nobody gets that treatment here because they're our replacement. Are you guys ready to be replaced by them? Because you should be. At this point, it's like we can't even help our own community. That's what's so disgusting. But then when we want to help people who are seeking asylum, who are murderers, pedophiles, rapists, you name it, it's all good, right? Let's release them on the streets, give them everything that they want. But when the community needs it, it's like, F you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thank you, County. Appreciate what you've done so far. Not much, but I just want to let you know we need to have extensions for the vouchers.
Sir, can you please state your name?
Robert Banks, Jr.
Thank you.
We need to have these extensions. I mean, gee whiz, we're only asking for what you should have given us without a question. You've had all kind of time to do this, to think about this since January 22nd. What you've been thinking about? How to put the money in your pocket? How about getting the money out to where it's needed? We got families that are about to be evicted because they had a flood in their home and put on the street and made homeless. Where's your sensibilities? Do you care? I mean, you all got families, right? You all got families. So if this was your family doing this, going through this, what would you do? Would you just stand by and watch? Or would you actually put your hands in, your feet in, and assist in getting things straight? We're tired. I'm 76 years old and I'm mad. I'm mad as hell. because you folks didn't do your job in the first place. And now you want us to be evicted. And wait a minute, the housing authority, they're already overwhelmed. They're so overwhelmed. My brother needs to be put from an upstairs apartment to a downstairs apartment. In December, he was told he have to wait. Now the flood is something different now. What's that mean? He got to wait further. Why? Because they're overwhelmed, but they're already with their responsibilities. You're going to give them our vouchers, our need to be in a hotel, to them who's already overwhelmed, understaffed, or whatever? Give me a break. Give us a break.
Next speaker, please. Again, we'll ask you to please refrain from clapping. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Melissa Hernandez, AKA Cuban Mimi, and first and foremost, I want to thank the County Board of Supervisors. Thank you for stepping up and doing what the mayor himself did not do. Thank you for helping us. With that being said, I am the voice, I am an advocate, and I'm here to say directly to you all to please, if you can, at least try to start a program where we can extend at least an additional 3 months and help these people at least get back into their homes, at least get them right situated where they need to be. Now, with that being said, let's stop speaking on illegals. Let's stop speaking on illegals, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to America living for free. Unless you're on the other side of the board and you know what's going on, stop speaking on illegals. And let's talk about today. Let's see how we can help, how we can continue, like all these nonprofits that got out there in the front line from the day one, the Pillars of the Community, the Harvey Family Foundation, Fat Camp San Diego, SD Hip Hop. We all got out there before the city got out there. And then the county came, and the county did what they can, and they're doing what they can. So let's all figure out how we can make this happen, and let's stop bringing up the illegals. Let's stop bringing up the illegals, and let's move forward with the county, and let's see how we can get these people help, and let's see if we can get an extension, because I'm tired of pinpointing and fingers being pointed to everybody, and at the end of the day, I know all you single one in here are doing the best you can, but we need an extension. And as far as the Housing Commission, yes, if we give them this opportunity to put everybody to get them housing or whatever, they're tired, they're frustrated. These people are tired of going through application process, through background checks. They just want to get back home. Let's get these contractors to fix their homes, to fix their apartments. Let's just get the people back in so that these hotels don't keep making money off of the city or the county. Let's get them back in their homes. I told you guys this last time. Let's get them back in their home. Let's focus on these contractors. Let's make sure they're not ripping the county off with their money. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Erin Cerumino-Grassi, I'm the Associate Director at Alliance San Diego. First, I want to say thank you to the Board of Supervisors. When the city floundered, when the city failed to have a plan, when the city failed to help its citizens, it was this board that stepped forward to make certain that people had housing. And we have not forgotten, right? We have not forgotten that it was you who stood up and made certain to fill in the gap. We are deeply concerned. We're grateful, of course, right? But we're concerned about what's going to happen post-May 11th. We understand, and we, of course, want to see everyone get back into their homes. We want to see people get into permanent housing. We know that no one wants to stay in hotels. But that being said, we are deeply concerned that folks will not be able to get placed into housing without a continued emergency temporary lodging. So to that degree, what we would really ask for is for the county to make an amendment to the proposal. That way there's flexibility in how that $4.6 million can be spent to allow for there to be, allow that money to be used for temporary lodging. Whether that's through the Housing Commission, whether that's through the county, we know that we cannot get folks housed if we immediately cut off the temporary lodging program. And so to that end, we encourage the county, please consider, encourage the board, please consider making an amendment to allow flexibility in how that $4.6 million can be spent. That way folks can continue to have a house over their head.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I think I'm next, Michelle Krug.
Yes.
I have to echo what was just said. When the cities didn't do it, when nobody, well, I'm not going to say nobody did it because nonprofits did it immediately that day. But the county has stepped up amazingly. And I know your hands are tied, and I just want to say how much the people I know really recognize this. I do think it's critical that these vouchers be extended. I have a friend, Kathleen Harmon, that I believe all of you have probably heard about. She's 92. She's been moved 9 times. Her house is not ready. We have been able to get, the carpenters came and cleaned out everything for free. The labor has been done for free, but we're still fundraising to get the stuff that she needs. And she wound up getting walking pneumonia because one of the hotels didn't have heat. The point is that we need...
Michelle, hold on a moment, please.
The time is up.
No, just stay at the podium, please, Michelle. You want to keep going? Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Please continue. Thank you.
Okay. And I know you know all this, and I know you are working with your heart on this issue, but I really think I hope that that's the priority.
If we could please ask everybody to enter the chamber and be quiet, please, so we can hear the speaker. Out of respect for everybody, we want to give everyone an opportunity to be heard. So ask you to please quiet down. Thank you. Thank you. Please. Okay, thank you, Michelle. Please continue your comments.
Is making sure that all these people that are still, their homes are not ready, we have to make sure that they continue to be housed, because that's just crazy making for all of us to have them on the street and have to be adding to our homeless situation. So please, let's use this money to keep them housed, and then obviously we want to get them permanently back in their own homes. Thank you.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers. Again, please, your conduct is disruptive to the meeting, Consuelo. That's your first warning. I'm speaking on behalf of the chairwoman. Thank you. Consuelo, it's second warning. Thank you.
Only for Consuelo.
That's your first warning, Luke. Thank you. Before you begin your comments, I'll call 5 additional speakers. Michael Rios, Jessica Calix, Maria Martinez, Della Tucker, and Anthony Dick. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Hello, once again. I just want to take a second before I start my comment to thank Cuban Mimi, who went before us and reminded us that this is not an issue for us to be pinned against each other. This is not an immigrant, migrant issue versus flood victim survivor issue.
Can you please state your name?
My name is Flower Alvarez Lopez, and I'm here to register my opposition, but at the same time give the County Board of Supervisors the recognition for the work that has been done in void of what the city's lack of response was. We want all victims, flood victim survivors, to get what they need. We support Alliance San Diego's letter that was submitted, and we support the proposed amendment to allow Housing Authority to have the flexibility to cover temporary lodging. I think the folks that have come before you today that are still in temporary housing, I just want to echo what they have been saying, that they would like to remain housed, and temporary lodging for them is what's most important right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Michael Rios. First, I want to tell your fucking deputies, stop trying to intimidate us, respect us. We came with respect, but we're not going to be intimidated. You fucking know who I am, and tell them to respect me. So I don't come as a threat to you guys. I never disrespected you guys. I talked to Montgomery the other day. Sarah Jacobs tried to avoid speaking to me. So I demand respect also. I always respected you guys. But I'm not going to be intimidated. I'm about to be homeless on May 11th, so I'm not being intimidated. If I have to go to fucking jail to be housed, then I'll go to fucking jail to be housed. And I'll have a bed, and I'll have 3 meals a day. But I'm not going to be intimidated. So tell your deputies that you control to respect us and don't come at us aggressively. But before that happened, I was going to say thank you to you guys for everything you guys done so far. And I appreciate what you've done so far. Because the city won't do shit for us. Todd Gloria is a joke. So I appreciate what you guys do. The city don't have a plan for us. The Housing Commission called me the other day, offering me to fly me to my sister's house in Vegas to stay with her. They said, do you have a family member that can help you? I said, yes, I do, my sister. But how am I going to get to work every day if I'm in Vegas? So there's no plan. We need you guys to extend us in the hotel longer. Without intimidation, without being scared or threats, because I'm not scared. I've been nice, I've been respectful, I've been cared for. Your office, Nora, that day I met you in Spring Valley, we spoke. Your office never contacted me since that day when you told her to get my information. I seen her in Spring Valley the other day, at the Spring Valley Day, and I asked her about it. Oh, I've been sick. I've had laryngitis. I've been out of the office. She has never contacted me.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sorry, this is kind of intense few minutes. My name is Jessica Kalix. I'm a resident from Beta Street, displaced. I'm a small business owner. I'm a PTA mom. I have an 8-year-old. His birthday was the day of the floods, actually. So I dropped him off at school. The flood happened, and everything in our whole lives was destroyed. So we were super happy to be able to be in the hotel, and right away I realized I needed to get moving fast. And I was one of the fortunate people that wasn't there in the neighborhood. My car wasn't destroyed, and that was a huge advantage because immediately I started, I had a place to stay. I went and got a new job, so hopefully I could try to qualify for new housing, because the way, I paid $1,650 for a 2-bedroom on Beta Street. You can't even get a studio, let alone a room for rent for that now. None of us were planning on moving. To be abruptly thrown back into the housing market after such an incredible loss, I didn't even have a work uniform. I had no shoes. Literally, we had no shoes. I missed weeks of work. My kid had no clothes. The day after the flood, we had to buy toothbrushes and toothpaste. We had nothing. So the amount that we've gotten to, I'm actually not in a hotel anymore. I was gifted an RV travel trailer from a family member and was able to, but it took me 6 weeks to do all that, all the applications. I even got denied at one park because I didn't make enough income. Landlords, they're not making exceptions. They don't care that we're flood victims. And we only get so much money from FEMA. And even now, the rental assistance I got, it may not continue. At this point on, I may be on my own. I paid for all of my own food. I was only able to get the last 2 weeks of food support. So things just take time. If it ends on the 11th, people will fall through the cracks. With the amount, a huge amounts of privilege that I had, it still took me over 6 weeks to get into a temporary solution. So if it ends that day, people will be homeless. People will fall through the cracks, and I'm here to speak for them too.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Della Tucker. This flood has really done me a lot, and I need the extension. I've got teenagers. Everything was destroyed, and basically trying to keep my children in a hotel room and give them stability and give them a normal life has been really hard. And I'm trying difficulty. It seems like everything knocks me down each time I turn around. I just need one thing to be stable for them, just for a moment for stable till I can get them into housing and get them stable. And they don't have anything. Their computers were destroyed. Everything was destroyed. knowing that I'm about to lose housing on May 11th really stresses me out, and I can't deal with any more stress. And I just want to have things normal for my kids right now. That's all. I'm begging.
Thank you. So next speaker's coming forward. I'll call 5 additional speakers. Crystal Ramirez, Angelica Hidalgo, Moises Godinez, Michaela Rollick, and Clarissa Marin. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Hello, my name is Anthony Dick, and I spoke to you guys before, and once again, I'm going to address this issue. A lot of us have the means to get another apartment, but do not either make the 3.5, like they want you to have 3.5 times the rent before you can move in. And I'm a disabled veteran. I only get $37 a month. A 1-bedroom apartment is $22.50. There's no way that I'm going to sit there and make 3.5 times the rent being disabled when I can't work. That's one issue that I'm having. Another issue that I'm having is credit. I'm kind of confused on how they are using credit and saying that they're equal opportunity housing when credit is never a factor. If I finish paying my lease, they don't report it. So if they're not reporting to the credit bureau, they should not use the credit bureau for an application. That's my feeling on that one. So, but if that's the case, then we got to look past that, and we have to say, okay, what can we do to get initial and have an initiation to where these landlords will allow us to be in there. I'm a part of VVSD. That's a nonprofit organization, but they still have to go within the parameters of the credit. So with that being said, if there was a way that you guys could find grants to give to these nonprofit organizations, because I know some of us are already in housing programs, but a lot of the programs themselves are limited to what the application is asking for. So if the application is asking for the credit, and the credit is not so good because we were working on that before the flood.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I was just going to say, if you could,
thank you. Your time is up.
Additional grant.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Yes, please come forward if I've called your name.
Hello, my name is Krista Ramirez, and my family and I want to thank you, the county, for not leaving us homeless and for taking action that the city didn't take. Please, I ask that you, the county, or the city extend our hotel stay. If not, we will have to return to our mold-infested wrecked home. My parents are homeowners in Shelltown, and with very, very hard work, and 6 children have been able to own and recently remodeled the place we used to call home. Ever since the flood, we haven't been able to advance much. The inside of our home flooded 5 feet high and still has tremendous repair to be done. The walls are bare. Many of the floorboards have not been replaced. It is a heartbreaking sight. Contractors charging 4 times more than the assistance that FEMA provided. My brother and a family member have been working tirelessly to take care of that and have us back home. So as much as we can not wait to return to our home, we are asking that you please allow us to stay longer and have that roof over our heads. We ask that you extend our hotel stay until we can safely return to the place we call home. Our mothers shouldn't have to worry a day before Mother's Day if we would have a roof over our head or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Buenas tardes. Me llamo Marcela Ralac. Vivo en el 520 29 Street, San Diego, California, 92102.
Okay. My name is Angelica. I'm Maricela Ralac, and good afternoon. I live at 52029 Street, San Diego, California, 92102.
Vengo a pedirlos, por favor, que si nos pueden extender más tiempo en el hotel.
Okay. And I'm here to ask you if you might be able to extend us and give us more time at the hotel.
porque lo necesitamos, la casa de nosotros todavía no está listo. Y como le vuelvo a venir a pedir también sobre de las casas, que todavía no está evitable.
Okay? And I'm here because our house is not ready to be lived in. And once again, like I said before, I was here before, you know, the homes, we're not able to live on them yet.
Y también no se puede regresar uno en su casa de uno porque también el canal todavía no han limpiado. Y ahorita...
¿El canal?
Sí.
And also, you know, I wanted to let you know, we're not able to go back to the house because the canal is not clean yet.
Ahorita que esperamos que viene otra vez la lluvia, que esperamos que va a volver a pasar otra vez como la última lluvia que hizo un sábado, también a nosotros nos iba a tocar otra vez, el agua se iba a meter otra vez.
Okay, so we're waiting for rain, so the same thing is going to happen. That happened to us on a Saturday, you know, and then the water is going to be coming and, you know, it's going to affect us. Again, we're going to be getting that water.
Y también tomé fotos sobre del canal el día de hoy. Todavía está sucio. Si ustedes quieren que a lo mejor ustedes piensen que estoy mintiendo, tengo fotos y tengo videos para enseñarlos.
I have pictures of that canal. I have them here. You know, I've taken pictures just to show you and to let you know that I'm not lying. And I can show this to you.
Ahora les pido el gran favor que nos escuchan y que nos ayudan de verdad. Okay. No solo dicen que sí y no lo hacen.
Okay. So I'm here to please ask you to help us, you know, but please help us this time because we have asked you before and you don't do it.
Porque ustedes ahorita, aunque están dando dinero, pero si pasa otra vez el otro año, es lo mismo que va a pasar otra vez. Les digo yo, como ahorita nosotros vamos la tercera vez que está pasando ahorita, cada 3 años nos está pasando este problema.
So although you're giving the money, if this happens again, it's going to be the same thing. You know, this has happened to us 3 times, you know, every year. For 3 years already, this has been happening to us.
Y tanto de estrés uno que está en el hotel, tanto que uno se preocupa de su casa, tanto uno se está enfermando de estos fracasos que está pasando.
The stress of staying at the hotel, the stress of not being at the house, you know, we're getting sick for everything that is happening to us.
Y así como yo que ya me dio la ansiedad, ¿quién que me viene a decir que, ¿sabes qué? ¿Qué necesitas? Si te llevo al doctor o te pago tu medicamento. No, soy yo lo que estoy sufriendo ese dolor.
And here I am with all this anxiety and nobody's coming over to tell me, what do you need? You know, what medication do you need? Let me take you to the doctor. Nobody's telling me that. And I'm the one dealing with that anxiety.
Y mire ahorita que si fuera, les emito en mi casa de estar el tiempo que va a llover, ustedes van a estar en mi lugar, cómo me siento de preocupación.
I invite you to come over to my house when the rain comes, you know, and then you're going to understand why I'm so worried about all this and why I am just very anxious and worried.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Gracias.
Buenas tardes. Me llamo Angélica Hidalgo.
Okay, and good afternoon. My name is Angélica Hidalgo.
Les quiero dar las gracias a ustedes por lo poco que nos han ayudado.
I do want to thank you for the little help that you have provided to us.
Pero el caso mío es que nos ayuden más por extendernos más tiempo a los hoteles.
Okay, and in my case, you know, I would really like to have more help. I would like to have an extension for staying at the hotel.
Y por el caso mío, que yo no estoy recibiendo las ayudas económicas por falta de trabajo, por tener una casa donde...
And in my case, I'm not getting the help that I need, you know, because of the house, you know, and because I don't have a job. So I'm really not getting any type of help that I feel that I need.
Y por falta de la casa, pues no, yo, por mi cuenta, yo trabajo vendiendo cheesecakes.
Okay, ¿en dónde?
Vendiendo cheesecakes.
And, you know, because I also, you know, as far as the house, what I do is I work on my own. I sell cheesecakes.
Para que yo pueda seguir mi vida y con mi hija juntos.
I would like just to go ahead and continue with my life and my daughter as well.
Y ahora para rentar es difícil porque checan el crédito.
Right now, renting is very difficult because they check on your credit.
Y por no poder agarrar un hogar, y como todos nosotros los vecinos,
And because we're not able, to get a house, and it's just all of us, our neighbors.
y como algunos no trabajamos por falta de los papeles,
And some of us, unfortunately, we're not able to work because we don't have papers.
y por favor les pido a ustedes que nos ayuden y no podemos encontrar el hogar por muchos que no tenemos carro, por todo lo que perdimos.
Okay, and I'm here to ask you for some of us, if you can find us a place, a lot of us here, we lost a lot, and we would please ask you to do that.
Y necesitamos de la ayuda, por ejemplo, yo que necesito mucho psicología, que me ayuden, porque perdimos mucho la mente por todo el desastre que pasó.
And, we need help. In my case, I need psychological, help, because our mind, went bad because of everything that happened to us and everything that we lost.
Y como por lo mismo regreso, en los apartamentos donde yo estaba, muchos de mis vecinos me ayudaron económicamente cuando juntaba mis reciclajes, me ayudaban en todo momento. Por eso les pido la ayuda para atrás a ustedes, por
Yes,
favor.
and I need to let you know, when I went to where the apartments where I was living at, my neighbors, they were the ones who helped me financially, because I had a recycling business. So it was my neighbors, that they helped me. So I really ask for your help.
Y por parte mía, de mi personal, tenemos algunos de la sección 8, de las ayudas que nos dan.
Okay. In my case, some of us, we have the help from Section 8, and they help us.
Entonces necesitamos que nos ayuden por el crédito que no tenemos, porque nos piden mucho el chequeo.
Okay.
Y por favor les pido que nos ayuden.
I really ask you to help us, please, because of the credit that we have, so we really need your help.
Yo les doy las gracias a mis vecinos, ¿verdad? Porque ellos siempre estábamos unidos juntos en los apartamentos. Por favor, ayúdenos, por favor.
And I really have to thank you and my neighbors. We've all been we gathered together in this, so we really, really need your help. We really ask you to please help us, please.
Es todo, muchas gracias.
And that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Yes, hello. My name is Moises Godinez. I want to thank you all for the 2 months that you gave us for extension. It really helped a lot. And but as well, we need a little bit more of extra. We need at least 1 month more minimum to keep helping us for the voucher, because we need to find a place. We have been getting calls from the housing for getting emails on addresses and places that they have for rent, but the problem is that we could find this place on our own. The emails, that addresses, we could find it on the web. It's not like real help, and because they're asking for everything the lady just said, credit, income, it's the same problem. We need really help, to put us, I don't know, put us in front of Section 8, I don't know. Look for something that, if you want us really to get out of the hotel, please, we need more help, really help. Yes. That's where we're begging, and we're not supposed to be begging for this help. Yeah. So please, look for a big or really solution for us, so we don't have to be a problem anymore. And the city, I don't know where's this guy, Tall Glory. He's a coward. I don't know why he's not here. He hasn't even had the courage to give, at least talk to us and sit in our table, and he could talk to us, and so we could tell him our needs for us, the problems that we really have in the hotel. So I'm just asking for a little bit more of extension so we could find a place or go back where we used to live. Thank you.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers: Lisa Sheffield, Carla Gomez, Gerardo Hernandez, Linda Manzo, and Perla Lopez. If I've called your name, please come forward.
My name is Clarissa Marin, and I have to oppose this. I feel that at the end of the day, we know who's responsible. I think a lot of us support the city finally taking accountability, but let's be realistic, it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. And sadly, we were here 2 months ago, and the communities are in the same position that they were on March 8th. So not only did the city fail us, you guys did too. You guys failed us because you stepped in when they were not there, when they were not competent enough to execute an incident response or disaster recovery, and they showed us that they didn't care. I mean, it started way before the flood, right? They took all the money that was supposed to take care of my neighborhood that I was born and raised in, and they put it elsewhere. We had to bury people because of what they did. So thank you guys for stepping in and putting the community in a house for 2 months, but everyone is in the same position that they were 2 months ago because you failed us too. Because you didn't listen to the community, you didn't listen to our needs, nor did you guys execute a plan yourselves. So now I am begging you to please make it right, because everyone is in the same position that they were when you guys decided to shell out millions of dollars to all of these other entities, which is essentially what you're proposing to do right now. You're proposing to do the same thing and ask these residents how it benefited them. See, because your housing program is only taking care of a third. Because in those several crucial weeks that no one came to save my community, everyone fizzled away. Everyone was displaced. And our community was tight-knit, hardworking, and now they need more help. They need more time, and they need a plan during that 30-day extension at least. Please, that's essentially all we're asking for.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, guys. My name is Lisa Sheffield, again from Spring Valley. I had something written out here, you guys, and this is really hard. I do appreciate you guys being able to provide a home for my 8 family members, my disabled veteran husband, my grandchildren. I should be at home with my dog that's dying. But I'm here. And everyone else, I do oppose. At least amend this to get us home. None of us wants to continue living in the hotel. I don't want to live in the hotel. I want to go home to be able to spend my last moments with my doggy. This is really emotional. There's grants. If you guys have other programs, I am one of the 4,000 that Mr. Aaron spoke of a while ago that is having a hard time with FEMA. I don't have the female rental assistance. I'm denied everything because there was a mix-up on my son's in my application. So I have nothing from FEMA. I'm still appealing after appealing after appealing. I have nothing. I just need some kind of help, resources. That's all we're asking for. Is while we're transitioning, I've been looking for a month. Still can't find a house that'll take 4 dogs, 8 family members, a flat, because my husband needs to be transferred up and down in a hospital gurney. There is no homes like that I could afford for less than $10,000 a month. I pay $3,000 for my mortgage. I can't afford that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Gerardo Hernandez. First of all, I want to thank you guys for what you guys did 2 months ago, extending the hotel vouchers. Thank you for that. Now, I want to talk about the city. The city is the one that should be out here, not with you guys. We should be addressing this to the mayor. I don't even consider him a mayor for what he's doing. He has not even showed up to any of the meetings we've been in the city council meeting. All we ask for, thank God, me and my son, our hard work, we found a place, but I'm fighting for the people that are still misplaced, still looking for places. I'm not going to stop for them just because I found a place. I'm still going to stand up for them, and not until everybody settled down where we belong. Affordable what we were paying before, It was $1,850, $1,650, like they're saying. There's nowhere out here they're going to find a place like that. All we ask for, you guys, extend these hotel vouchers again, because the city has not done nothing for us till this day. You guys, like I said, you guys stepped up. We appreciate that. Also, too, the food. You guys said you guys going to give it to the Harvey Foundation. Yeah, we thank you guys that you guys put in the Uber Eats, but you know what? The Harvey was, starting. Was going to get that. So all we, like I said, we're appreciated for everything you guys do, but the city is the one that should be out here addressing all this, because they're the ones that put us out there in this. They're nowhere around. So I mean, that's what we're talking about. We cannot go through this again. People, like you seen just earlier, what people are going through. We're stressed. We're hurting. Put your guys in our situation for at least 7 days. We've gone 3 months already, plus or more. It's hard for us. We keep fighting. We're strong. We're fighters. That's all we want from you guys, to listen and extend these vouchers.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Carla Gómez y soy una de las afectadas de la 4150 National Avenue, apartamento 18.
Okay, un momentito. Yeah, my name is Carla Gomez. Good afternoon. I'm one of the people who has been affected, and I live at 4150 National Avenue.
Apartamento 18.
And the apartment number is 18.
Ok, yo también vengo a pedir una extensión para el hotel y para la comida. La verdad es la primera vez que paso aquí. Yo he estado viniendo con mis vecinos.
Okay, and I'm here because, like everyone else, I'm here to ask for an extension. This is my first time here, and that I come here, I go ahead and visit with the neighbors.
El dueño de nuestro complex, de mí y de mis vecinos, mandó una carta diciendo que de 6 a 10 meses iban a estar los departamentos si yo puedo volver ahí.
Okay.
Entonces, todavía no voy a tener dónde vivir.
Okay, so the owner of the complex did send us a letter explaining that it's going to take 6 to maybe 10 months, for us to be able, to live there. However, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have anywhere to live.
Y el día que pasó eso, el dueño del complex nos mandó a un refugio. Y desde ahí, pues yo he estado haciendo lo que mis vecinos hacen. Yo soy mamá soltera, mi hijo 18, yo antes tenía una vida, tenía problemas con mi hijo el de 18, el de 13, y desde ese día no he podido trabajar porque la situación que estoy en el hotel, no puedo dejar a mi hijo de 13 años solo.
Un momentito. So basically the owner of the complex, he did give us a shelter for a while. But like many of us here, I'm a single mother. I have an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old, and I'm unable to work. I cannot work because who am I going to leave my 13-year-old one with?
Y pues la verdad a mí me daban el voucher de 714, hasta ahorita sé por qué me bajó, porque se supone que nos estaban dando comida y a mí no me han dado nada.
I am getting a voucher for $714 now, and I just I couldn't understand why it went down, because they thought that I was also getting food, but I'm not. I'm not getting any type of food. They didn't give me any of that.
Sí, lo único bueno es que me cambiaron a uno con cocina, entonces yo compré mandado, como era menos, yo compré mandado para poder cocinar, pero igual suenan las alarmas, no es lo mismo estar en un hotel que en tu casa.
However, the only good thing about this is that at the hotel, they gave me one that has a little kitchen, so I'm able to cook, but it's kind of hard because then the alarms go off, because of the cooking.
Los huele, sales, son muchas cosas y la verdad yo sí quiero que nos den una solución, que nos ayuden, nos pongan en una vivienda para ya no estarnos cambiando porque no puedo trabajar y no puedo tener y como y más, no quiero ser una carga tampoco para aquí, para el gobierno.
You know, and as far as the hotel, you know, because it would smell like food and everything, but, you know, I really would like to have some type of an answer. You know, I'm really requesting your help, you know, because I'm not able right now, my situation, you know, to work or do anything, you know. However, I also don't want to be a burden for the government or anything like that either.
Yo ahí pagaba 1,550 con biles incluidos y ahorita sí me ayudan, pero me ayudan en una renta de 3,000, 3,300. Yo no puedo irme a un lugar y que me acaben de ayudar y cómo yo me voy a seguir pagando eso.
I was paying $1,550 for my rent, you know, and right now, let's say that they're going to help me, you know, with something that is what, $3,000, $3,200. How am I going to go ahead and make up for the difference? And, you know, if I'm not able to work, or what about the food and all that?
Thank you.
Muchas gracias por toda la ayuda que nos han dado.
However, that's all, and really, thank you for all the help that you provided to us.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Aló, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Pearla López y soy de la Pearla López.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Pearla López. Okay.
Soy de las 6:30 y vengo a pedir más extensión para el hotel por lo que cabe.
Okay. I'm from 630, and what I'm here for, I would like to go ahead and ask for an extension for the hotel, because look at this.
Look at this. Mi casa todavía no está habitable.
Yes, you can see my house.
A mí no me ayudó FEMA, a mí no me ayudó BOA, a mí no me está ayudando nadie.
FEMA didn't help me, BOA didn't help me, nobody's helping me at all.
Entonces, ahí falleció mi suegra y mi mamá tiene 76 años y no quiero que vaya a un lugar como está así ahorita.
My mother-in-law passed away there, and I just don't want my mother, you know, to also live in a place that looks just like this.
Y aquí está mi casa. Los invito a que vayan en la tarde a entrar a mi casa y vean que está inhabitable. Nomás les pido que nos den un poquito más de extensión para yo poder terminar mi casa.
Okay, and you know, I invite you over to my house so you can see for yourself that you cannot live on it. And the only thing that I'm asking for is to please give me an extension so my house can be done.
Ahorita todos estamos muy estresados, acaban de ver lo que pasó.
Okay.
No sé qué vaya a pasar más para adelante si no nos extienden el más tiempo. Esto fue poquito a lo que se pueda venir.
And we're all really stressed out. You know, we all know what happened, and who knows what can happen in the future. You know, we don't know what can happen.
Todos estamos muy estresados por toda esta situación. Yo quiero volver a mi vida, como dicen muchas personas, yo no quiero ser una carga para ustedes. Simplemente les pedimos ayuda, a mí que me den tiempo y a las demás personas a terminar, a regresar a nuestro hogar. Los invito a que vayan a mi casa y la vean, y no es mentira lo que les estoy diciendo.
Okay, and you know, I don't want to be in this situation, you know, and also, you know, I want you to come over. I invite you over to my house. You know, I just want to go back to my normal life. Like I said, like many of us have said, I don't want to be a burden for you guys. You know, I just want an extension. You know, I just want a little time so I can go ahead and finish my house.
Gracias por su tiempo y por escucharnos.
And thank you for your time, and thank you for listening.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite 5 additional speakers. Antonio Lopez, Paula Garcia, Ashley Manzano, Roxanne Pacheco, and Brenda Bautista. I've called your name. Please come forward. Ask you to please not interrupt the proceedings. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Linda Manso, and I'm a resident from the Encanto area. I live on Stork and Akins. My apartment always gets flooded every year. It's the exact same thing every year. I'm just wanting to give thanks to you guys for what you have done for us so far. I'm asking for 60-day more of hotel stay. I'm also asking for you guys to make the right decisions on where you guys are sending the money and stuff, because, I mean, Equez wasn't good for us. It's been very stressful when we dealt with them. Uber Eats is a waste of money. When you pay for a $10 hamburger, you're paying $20 hamburger. It's money that's just going to trash. It's too expensive. It's expensive to be ordering Uber Eats. I don't know who made that decision. But I just wanted to say thanks. Please give us a more 60 days stay for the rest of us staying there. I also want to say that a lot of us that are renters, we need a lot of help. I don't get any welfare or anything like that. So, my husband and I work very well. We manage to we live day by day with our paychecks and stuff like that, but we also don't qualify for housing with them. So what do I do in my situation? I'm living with my credit cards right now. I'm in debt now. I'm still paying rent in a home that I'm not living in. I'm afraid I want somewhere to go back home to. So I still continue to pay rent in a place that I'm not living at. And I'm paying out of my pocket fixing this house because the landlord's too old and he's not able to do it. So I'm wasting money out of my pocket. Please help me. Help us.
Next speaker, please.
Are you going to translate it? Translate it? Oh.
Okay. ¿Cuál es su nombre?
Paula García.
Oh, ¿Paula?
Paula García.
Ok, Paula García. Ok, señora, adelante.
Buenas tardes. Les venía a pedir, por favor, que nos den una extensión porque tengo 5 de familia que vivían conmigo.
Sí, ok. Good afternoon. I'm here to ask you for an extension. I have 5 people right now that are living with me.
Tengo un hijo que está muy enfermo de años, un hijo especial y una hija.
Okay, I have a son and he's sick. He has special needs. I have a daughter.
Sí, mi hija, y dicen que nos van a echar para afuera. Si ya hay mucha gente que con la economía, ¿cuánta gente está viviendo en la calle?
They're telling us they're going to kick us out. And what are we going to do? Just with the economy, the way that things are, people are living out in the street.
Ya están hasta en la TV que están multando a las personas.
¿Cómo?
Que están multando a las personas por que están viviendo ahí, se vuelven a regresar y que porque están las... ¿Qué vamos a hacer nosotros?
They're already giving tickets too, for people that are living there, but they come back. But what are we going to do about it? They're ticketing, they're giving people tickets for living there.
Yo llegué en el 74, pero eran puras quemazones antes, puras quemazones. Y las pandillas que se venían de la Logan para acá, día y noche, los helicópteros, las patrullas, no podían, era un desastre.
I moved here in 74, and I remember we had the fires, we had the gang members, that were being chased. That's what happened when I was living back here in 74.
Pero ahorita ya son 3 veces, como dicen, la tercera es la vencida, de que ha habido inundaciones, y no es justo.
However, this is the 3rd time of the floods. I guess the 3rd time it's it. That's what they're saying. That's how the saying goes. This is the 3rd time of this flooding.
Nosotros llegamos en el 74.
We came here in 1974.
Llegamos legalmente.
We came here legally.
Mi hija de 10 y 11 años comenzaron a trabajar de esa edad. Todo le echamos para adelante como nos enseñaron nuestros padres a trabajar, no a vivir de la gente.
And even my daughter, who back then was 11 years old, she started to work back when she was 11, not like living out of anyone. We started to work here since we arrived.
Tengo 8 hijos.
I have 8 children.
Pero nomás están 5 conmigo.
But with me, I only have 5 that are with me.
Pero en el 74 fueron casi 15 años de pasar muchas hambres, fríos.
Okay.
Yo no sabía eso que dicen de hora del welfare porque nos enseñaron a trabajar.
And like I said, I came here in 74, 15 years I worked. I had to put up, I was hungry, I was cold. I had no clue. I had no idea what welfare because we were raised, they taught us that we needed to work.
Este señor, gracias a sus hijos del Señor,
But for these his children, thank his.
el agua ya me llegaba hasta aquí. A ellos cuando nos subieron al techo duran como 4 horas, no venían ni helicópteros, nada. Y a ellos ya les llegaba y a mi nieto aquí.
I remember, thank for that, the man and his son.
Gracias a él, Señor,
because
que nos subieron, a 6 personas o 7 nos subieron al techo.
The water was up to here in our place, and I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 people, they went and grabbed us and, they put us in the roof.
Yo tengo muchas enfermedades del corazón y de otras cosas, pero ya esta ansiedad que me entró por...
I do have problems with my heart, but this
por lo que pasó,
because of what happened.
Los pisos están ya todos deshechos.
Thank you. Your time is up.
And the floors, they're all ruined.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ella, porque ella sabe inglés.
Okay.
¿Está bien? Can you help her to her?
¿Dónde está?
Anywhere. All right, thank you. Okay, I'm Ashley Manzano. Please extend our hotels or put pressure on the city to extend. We'll be homeless after the extension date. We're homeowners on Beta Street in Shelltown. My family broke their backs as kids and my grandparents for the home we call a safe haven. Unfortunately, my household has a tough case on our hands. With my uncle having mental illness and being schizophrenic, my uncle has been wearing the same clothes since the flood and has severe open wounds that need to be seen in a hospital, but because he is not all there in his mind, he refuses. We have not even started to fix our house. Nothing has been done due to him being in the home. PERT team, chief of police, and nonprofits have came and tried, but couldn't help us. The laws need to change. Please help our case. My story is just one of the many examples on why we need extensions. We are tired. I checked myself into a mental institution because of how much bullshit this whole flood has created. Please be smart on allocating funds because you have failed us. We give you the answers, and you and the city dismiss them with a slap to our face. I am a citizen of the United States of America. I was proud to be an American and be a resident of San Diego's finest city. Please stop failing us. I'd say thank you, but we taxpayers pay for your checks, so do your job. And stop putting fake news and information like right now out to the people. Tell the whole truth. And then if you can extend it, well, us homeowners, we need more than a month. At least, so just more than a month. But that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Roxanne Pacheco. I am the daughter-in-law of Lisa Sheffield that just spoke a little while ago. I have lived in San Diego basically my whole life. I went to Mar Vista High School, so I didn't expect to have to come over here and talk to the city council and try to get some help from you guys. I really don't like being in public, so I just wrote something really quickly, but I also want to mention that my father-in-law is an amputee and I take care of him. So we have to change his diapers. We have to take him, and if we want to take him somewhere, it's hard to take him out of the bed. And during the flood, I was the only one there with him. Thankfully, 10 minutes before scheduled, at 10:30, he was taken away to dialysis. But honestly, I don't know what I would have done if he was still there during the flood. So I do want to thank the people who helped us, which is the association All Hearts and Hands, and also the people who were there just to help us. And so I just want to read real quick what I wrote. I want to urge you to reconsider the timeline for ending the temporary lodging program. I understand the importance of transitioning people out of the hotels, but for many individuals, May 11th is simply not enough time to find suitable housing. I speak on behalf of my family, particularly my mother-in-law, a veteran homeowner, and my in-law and fellow veteran currently staying at one of the hotels. Their situation is emblematic of the challenges faced by many of us in our community. The transition period must be flexible to accommodate the diverse needs of those relying on this program. Rushing this process risks leaving vulnerable individuals without stable housing, exacerbating an already difficult situation. I urge you to extend the transition period and work collectively with community organizations to ensure that every individual has a fair chance to secure stable housing. And I just want to mention that your guys' emblem on top of you says the noblest motive is the...
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'll call the remaining speakers in person. Kevin Godinez, Samuel Choi, Maritza Franco, Jenny Bello, and Consuelo. If I've called your name, please come forward.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Brenda Bautista.
Good afternoon, all of you. My name is Brenda Bautista.
Lamentablemente, pues estoy aquí nuevamente para ustedes. Sé que están muy cansados y están muy ocupados.
Unfortunately, here I am before you again, and I know you're probably very tired, you know, and it's just late in the, you know, and it's late in the afternoon.
Pues aquí me tienen de nuevo. Lamentablemente nosotros seguimos estando en el hotel, seguimos estando batallando, metiendo aplicaciones.
Okay, so here I am again. We continue being at the hotel. We're struggling, you know, we're sending out all these applications.
Lamentablemente ahorita las solicitudes de las que estamos metiendo han estado tan exigentes, en las cuales hay una propiedad que tengo el 70% para ingresar a ese departamento.
And unfortunately, these applications are so demanding. One of the properties, I think that my chances of moving in there is 70%.
La propiedad se llama Leonero, propiedad de Leonero.
Okay, the name of the property is Property Leonero.
Y esa propiedad me estuvo pidiendo todos los documentos que se exigen para poder rentar.
And of course, the people of the property did ask me for all the documents that are necessary, you know, when one wants to rent.
Entonces, ellos fueron a revisar la propiedad donde yo vivía antiguamente para verificar que realmente yo fui inundada de...
As a matter of fact, they even went to check the old property, the one that got flooded. You know, they went to check on it.
Y me dicen también que tengo que tener tres cantidades superiores al costo de la renta, pero también tengo que... Sí.
They're asking me that I have to have, you know, 3 times more the amount of what the property is going to rent for.
Y también me dicen que tienen que checar a mis miembros de mis hijos para que puedan...
¿A sus hijos? Okay. And they have to check on my members, meaning they have to check my kids' backgrounds.
Para que puedan acceder a la solicitud y para que yo pueda ingresar a la propiedad.
Sí. And that way, you know, the application can increase, you know, because of my kids, you know, and I can go ahead and get into the property.
En otras que he metido también me piden $25 por cada niño para usar el agua.
Okay. And other ones that I've applied to, they ask me $25 per kid, so I can use the water.
También el estacionamiento, la luz que se va a usar, también se tiene que agregar $10 más por cada niño.
¿Y el estacionamiento también?
Sí.
Okay,
sí.
Also for $10 because of the electricity per child. Also, I have to pay for the parking.
También el storage.
Oh, and also the storage.
Y si vamos a usar la alberca son $20 por cada niño.
Also, if we have to use the pool, that's $20 per child.
Y el costo es de $2,600 por dos recámaras. Sí.
And it's $2,600 a month for 2 rooms.
Entonces, así constantemente hemos estado batallando por cada propiedad que hemos ingresado a la solicitud.
So this has been happening. We've been struggling. Each place that, you know, we show an application, we struggle. You know, it's always like this.
Y los costos varían. Hay de $75 por cada aplicación hasta la más barata, que es $35 que he pagado.
And also the application fee, $75. I think the cheapest one that I paid for has been $35.
Entonces, pues necesitamos más extensión en el hotel porque no he sido aceptada. Gracias.
Basically, I need an extension for the hotel because I have not been accepted.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Samuel Choi with Alliance San Diego. Thank you, Board of Supervisors and staff, for stepping up following the catastrophic floods in January. We're here to ask the board to provide more flexibility to the lodging program. Simply not enough time to place people into permanent housing, as the region is still in the middle of a housing affordability and homelessness crisis. Currently, only a small number of households have been placed into housing by the San Diego Housing Commission, partly because of low vacancy rates, record high cost of rent, and the high barriers in the rent application process, as many of the residents here today attested to. In light of this, we urge you to amend the proposal to allow the housing authorities to flexibly spend the money so that it can cover the temporary lodging with the $4.6 million while they work through placing individuals in adequate housing. We're grateful that our county government has acted swiftly to protect the basic human rights and uplift the dignity of our community members during the disaster. We really need a real plan, and we need your continued leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Maritza Franco. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Maritza Franco.
Good afternoon. My name is Maritza Franco.
Han pasado 3 meses, 8 días de la negligencia que arruinó nuestra vida, donde perdimos absolutamente todo.
3 months and 8 days have gone by since everything got ruined and we lost everything.
El 11 de mayo es el último día que nos dieron en el hotel y terminaremos en la calle.
The last day the hotel had told us to stay there is May the 11th. After that, we're going to be out in the street.
Con todo respeto, pueden tener un poco de empatía con nosotros y por lo menos darnos 60 días para poder encontrar un nuevo hogar. Es tan difícil, no están en nuestros zapatos, no saben qué tan difícil es.
Okay, with all due respect, we would like to have an extra 60 days from us. You're not in our shoes. You don't know what we're going through.
Tengo una mascota, un perro y un gato que son para que mi hijo esté bien. Sufre de ansiedad, de estrés.
I also have 2 pets, a dog and a cat, and this is for my son because he suffers from stress, anxiety.
Eso me hace más difícil que me puedan rentar. No los voy a abandonar.
Okay, and that makes it harder for me, for people that, to rent from people, but I'm not going to abandon, I'm not going to leave them.
Entonces les pido que tengan un poquito de empatía, se pongan un día en los zapatos de todos los que sufrimos esto.
I ask you to have some empathy. I would like you to just put yourselves in our shoes as far as what we're going through.
Somos personas que trabajamos, que teníamos nuestras cosas.
We're people who work. We used to have our things.
Lo perdimos todo.
And we lost everything.
Ya perdimos hasta la dignidad.
We've even lost our dignity.
Entonces, si ustedes pudieran tener un poquito de apoyo para nosotros.
If you could just please have just a little tiny bit of support for us.
Por los niños, por las personas adultas que están enfermas.
For children, for the elderly, those who are sick.
Por nosotros que todavía tenemos fuerzas, por favor les pedimos que se pongan un día en nuestros zapatos.
And for us that we still have the strength, we ask you just for one day, just put yourselves in our shoes.
Y pues quiero agradecer que lo mucho o poco que nos han dado, pues se los agradezco de corazón.
But I do want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the little that you have given to us. I'm really grateful and thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Kevin Godinez. I'm a South Crest former resident, flood victim, and current high school student. Firstly, I wanted to say thank you very much for giving us 2 months to stay in a hotel, but I plead you that you give us more time. My family isn't just ready to transition to a home. Please, at least 60 days is what we need. I'm saddened to say that I missed school because of this. I missed on my education because of the fear and worry of not knowing where my family are going to stay. The negligence that us victims are experiencing, it's cruel, it's inhumane. The resources you guys are giving us for housing, it's appreciated, but it's useless. I've been spending all night trying to look for the same apartments, houses, and What we need is a secure place where we don't have to worry about application fees, making like 10 million, we need reassurance and safety. You say we're flood survivors, but it feels like we're still trying to survive the negligence of the city, county, and the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hola, mi nombre es Jenny Bello. Vengo de
Okay, hello, my name is
Jenny Bello.
Jenny Bello, okay.
Vengo de Happy Hollow Trailer Park. Gracias, primero que nada, por todo el
Happy
support.
Hollow?
Happy Hollow Trailer Park.
Okay, and I come here from Happy Hollow
Trailer Park.
Trailer Park.
Gracias por todo el support que han dado todo este tiempo, porque tenemos un techo donde no va a llover y una cama donde descansar.
Thank you for all the support that you've given to us. You know, we have a roof over our heads, you know, and we have a bed that we can sleep on.
Gracias por todo eso.
And thank you for all that.
Nuestra situación es un poquito difícil ya que somos propietarios de nuestras casitas.
And our situation is a little different, you know, because we're, you know, homeowners of our little houses. We own our little homes.
Pero estamos en el hotel, pero tenemos que seguir pagando la renta del espacio desde el día 1.
Okay, de la casa.
Sí, del espacio donde está nuestra casa.
Okay, so we're staying at the hotel. However, what we have to pay for is the space, you know, for usted vive en una casa trailer, of the trailer houses that we own. We still have to pay for that space.
La señora Nora sabe de lo que me refiero. Ella nos visitó una vez.
And Miss Nora knows what I'm talking about because she came over to visit us once.
En el momento que estaba más difícil todo.
At the moment where everything was a lot more difficult.
So, por eso la petición queremos, todavía nuestras casitas no están listas, sobre todo para los niños, estar around todo lo construcción, todo.
So we're really asking for a little bit of time because our little houses, they're not ready yet, you know, and our kids will not be ready to go because everything is like under construction still.
No es seguro para los niños porque también no tenemos un espacio, un patio donde los niños puedan jugar.
And it is not safe for the kids because we don't have a patio, we don't have a backyard where they can play.
Y por lo menos necesitamos unos 60 días para poder terminar lo más posible.
And I think at least we need 60 days so we can just finish as much as we can.
Gracias por lo Uber Eats que dieron, por lo menos no nos preocupamos en comer.
Thank you for the Uber Eats that you gave us. At least we didn't have to worry about eating.
Pero sí, lo mencionó alguien, es muy caro. Por ejemplo, 3 tortas, $60. Yo con $60 como 3 días, almuerzo, comida y cena.
Yeah, but you know, everything is so expensive. 3 tortas are $60. So I have to go ahead and make ends meet, and I have to save that, and I have to save it for 3 days so I can eat with that for 3 days.
Pero muchas gracias por eso y gracias también por todo lo que están haciendo. Sí se valora, no nos juzguen a todos por igual. Realmente estamos agradecidos por lo que han hecho.
I do want to thank you all for everything that you've done. You know, we value that, you know, so please don't judge all of us, you know, because we really, really appreciate it.
Estamos todos bajo estrés, preocupación y no sabemos el día de mañana. Nuestra vida está en pausa desde el día enero 22.
And we're all stressed out. We're always worrying. You know, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, it's kind of like our lives are like stopped because, you know, we don't know when this is going to end.
Y pues nada más, eso es todo. Quería agradecerle a todos y por lo menos 60 días más para poder estar. Somos gente trabajadora y podemos pagar nuestra renta, solo necesitamos otros 60 días más.
Okay, and that's all that I have to say. We just ask you for 60 days. We're really hardworking people, you know. We're able to pay for our rent. We just need that extra time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As the next speaker is coming forward, a final call for Antonio Lopez and Maria Martinez.
This is all a show to get trust back from the public. I know how you're going to vote. And I said that Nora was the numero uno mentirosa.
Can you please state your name?
Consuelo. I've said it plenty and I'll say it again. We continue to pay for our own enslavement via taxes complying with their laws and protocols. They set it for them, not us. The problem isn't a lack of money, food, water, or land. The problem is that we've given control over to a group of greedy psychopaths like Gloria and this board, who care more about maintaining their power than helping their constituents. To you who are exhausted of clocking in and out of work tirelessly and only get a couple days off, reminder, you're not tired of work, you're tired of being exploited by government to have to work to live. The only species that works to live on the planet, by the way. The most wealthiest government in history has its own people struggle daily. It's sick and twisted how government governs. Government is not your friend. Government is beyond abusive and will continue to get away with what we allow for them to get away with. It's often said on social media, especially by people on the right, the conservatives, let's not forget what they did to us. Well, I'm here to say to the right and left, let's not forget what we've allowed government to get away with. Let's not forget who keeps perpetuating all the wrongdoing by government. We continue allowing for government to misbehave and act reckless with our lives and our hard-earned money. I know the pattern. I know how this board will vote. I know why Gloria isn't here. How? Because myself and a handful of others are paying attention to this corrupt board. Unfortunately, it takes some people only to get involved when politics when the boot is directly on their face. Not sure exactly why this board keeps continuing to be thanked by so many speakers. Actually, what am I saying? I totally understand.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. Consuelo, you're disrupting the meeting. This is your third warning, Consuelo. Consuelo, you're disrupting the meeting. Consuelo, you're disrupting the meeting. That's your third warning. The chairwoman has indicated that you need to remove.
Oh my God, my third warning. I just got here, mentirosa. Oh my God.
Come on, why are you calling our people liars too?
No, she's a fucking liar. Who are people? No, I said.
Consuelo, ask you to please leave the chamber.
You guys come here to create
Consuelo, ask you to please leave the chamber. If we can have order in the chamber, please. The board is going to take a 2-minute recess. We're going to take a 2-minute recess. hear from those that requested to speak by phone. We'll begin with our first caller.
Hi, Supervisors. A long presentation usually means bad news. Money you got and don't spend. Yes, Mr. Banks, money in their pockets. People are suffering from the fact of the winter storms, and it is your responsibility, along with the cities that neglected needed maintenance work. These people deserve to return to their houses ASAP. But if they cannot, you need to continue the hotel vouchers or whatever help they had, and in the same place. You did the damage assessment the week after you began disaster relief. 3 weeks late. FEMA relief is still up in the air for thousands. Glad community and county organizations helped right away, but the county itself should not leave 644 of our best still in temporary lodging program. We want all individuals, children, school people, parents, and grandparents to be made whole, not homeless. These people should bill you for unnecessary charges, by the way. You are continuing the emergency. Do not shirk your responsibility or allow anyone else to. Do not encourage them by ending the temporary lodging program, and don't do it. Thanks.
Thank you. And for the record, the speaker is Paul Bald. I'll hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Kathleen Lippett. As a taxpayer and owner of city properties, it was difficult to watch the catastrophic damage that could have been prevented had the city been doing preventative and ongoing infrastructure maintenance as they were responsible to do. The city allowed all but 4 of their 200 city flood channels to be clogged with debris. Community residents had called for years requesting that those flood channels be cleared. They were not. Those calls were ignored. There should be consequences for misdirecting or misappropriating tax dollars. City electeds redirected funds instead that was meant for infrastructure and maintenance to community priority that should have been directed to community priorities, parks, streets, repairs, youth centers. Instead, they redirected them to their pet projects, empty bike lanes, empty public buses, electrical energy transition, making driving personal vehicles as difficult as they possibly could with their zero carbon policy mandates. They are impoverishing residents with the highest energy bills in the country, the highest food costs, and increased food scarcity. Trying to force the public out of low-cost, dependable gas vehicles into costly electric vehicles is not the job of city electeds. The public is being impacted today, not 1,000 years from now. We will all be dead then. The city should have consequences for its failure to use city funds properly. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hello, Kevin Stevenson. I am in favor of extending the deadline. People should not be pushed onto the streets. People need somewhere to live. The floods on January 2nd were devastating, and it's been a tough time for everyone affected by the floods. And it's disappointing to hear that some people would like to use this very urgent matter, this time of the essence moment, to virtue signal about how the government is seeking to control everyone's lives. I find that morally reprehensible. I think that's a great distraction from the problem at hand. And so I am going to remain on topic And I'm calling on the board to extend the deadline past May 11th, allow people to stay in these hotels as long as they need to, because I can't even begin to imagine how much debt people are being forced into because of what happened on January 22nd. That is a disaster that shouldn't have happened. The city of San Diego should have been able to prevent the extent of the damage, but they didn't. They sat on their hands, and now they have a problem to clean up. So while I would encourage the county to vote in favor of extending the deadline, I also think that the city of San Diego needs to get their ass in here and do their job. Thank you.
Thank you. And now hear from the next caller.
It's true. There were no severe storms. There was no severe atmospheric river. There was no 1,000-year storm. All lies. This was a storm of negligence. The county needs to sue the city of San Diego for all expenses incurred because the city is hoping to buy up people's homes so they can supposedly widen the channel. These survivors have been pushed out by the city, then pushed out by the county into FEMA, pushed to the point that a few of them were emotionally defeated into believing the lie that the city that neglected their broken promise zone is suddenly going to do the right thing with yet another tax. Predatory politicians go on TV with their press conferences or county meetings to capitalize on the trauma, whether that's Howard Todd, Slush Fund Jose, or Schadenfreude Sean, who said at San Diegans are narrow-minded.
It often has stood in San Diego's way. It's San Diego, pushed San Diego to stop being the provincial, past-focused place that it can often be.
And the excuse on this item was that this was the first time the county used hotels as shelters. What a pathetic excuse to have a mismanagement disaster like Equus kicking people out of their crummy hotels without proper notice. Equus needs to be sued, too, to recoup all of these county losses and to also provide damages to the survivors. I don't like the county bailing out any city failures, but this was a last resort, and a few million is a drop in the bucket compared to how much is going to aiding and abetting illegal immigration. These survivors being forcibly moved from hotel to hotel, are they not American migrants in need? Do they not deserve more than $20 million being legal taxpayers? The only concern is that future budget's being eaten up by another $5 million. But does everybody know this?
City council reps asked the mayor's office to fund a capital improvement plan to address drain fixes along Beta Street in 2020 and in 2021. That wasn't one of the projects selected. So the request was also made as recently as this past September. Council member Vivian Moreno asked for $350,000 to, quote, upgrade and add.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item. On behalf of the Chairwoman, I'll turn it over to Supervisor Montgomery Stepp.
Thank you very much, Clerk. Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. Let me go through a list of thank yous. I do want to thank you, Sarah, county staff, the 300 or more employees that have been on the ground during this entire time, and all of the phone calls, everything, countless hours, trying to do the best that we can for our community. I will be, the first to say that it has not been perfect, but I think that our hearts were in a place of trying to make sure that our community members had a place to stay and food to eat, and our decisions, I think, have reflected that thus far. I want to thank all the council members over at the City of San Diego that have been on the ground during this effort. Council President Sean Elo Rivera was here. Councilmember Moreno, Councilmember Foster, who was not council member at the time, but was on the ground almost every single day. Thank you for your efforts in all of this, and all of City of San Diego employees that are working behind the scenes, which I'll get to that a little bit later, in addition to the Housing Commission employees. Nonprofit organizations that stepped up in the very beginning, day one, thank you for what you did. We would not be able to have done what we did in the way we did it if not for your efforts to just take care of the community. No questions asked. And I just want to address the community members all who are suffering through all of this and who have come here today. I heard some things that I want to correct. I can speak for myself. I'm not judging you. I heard that. I also heard, I will show you the paperwork if you think I'm lying. I don't think you're lying. I don't think you're lying. I heard, I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to be a burden. And you're not. And so just wanting to, from my heart, address those, because I cannot say I know exactly how you feel, but I can say I don't want you to feel in that way. And so I want to go into this a little bit because I haven't done it. I've been asked by community members to not speak publicly about some of the interactions that we have had to have behind the scenes with each other, agency to agency. And I have abided by that because I didn't want to add trauma on top of what was already going on. But I have to tell you that just as the presentation showed, county staff has been working with city staff. March 15th, after we made the decision to allot $10 million additional dollars out of our reserve as a county, which I think we were probably one of the first in the nation to really go into reserve for this effort. After we made that decision, the CAO sent a letter over to the city of San Diego saying this program will be over May 11th. So all of this narrative about we didn't know that's not true. And then on top of that, there was correspondence again to the city on or about April 14th saying you need to dedicate at least 40 staff members to this for case management because every situation is different. We have heard that today. We have heard that today, that it's not just about the housing. There are extenuating circumstances that are specific and unique to each individual household. And we were trying to prepare for that May 11th date. And I have to say that because it has not, I want county staff to know that I understand what they have done. And I need for community members and the public and whoever is listening to know that we acknowledge this has not been perfect, but people have been working day and night. None of us want to see anyone without a home, much less those who have lost everything in a matter of hours. So we have been trying to transition as a county, but we need partners. We need partners because there's just certain decisions this board will never be able to vote on. If a city is incorporated, there's certain jurisdiction that they have, and there's also certain responsibility that they have. And I'm saying this having served on both sides, having been through the budget process over at the city and advocating for this storm drain channel maintenance as well. So understanding all of those issues, I just wanted to make that clear that we have taken over a bit more responsibility. We've done it willingly. We've done it with 4 votes every time, but it could have been different. And what I hope for is a true partnership. A partnership means you come to the table with something for your people. And that has not happened yet. So I want to, with all that being said, understanding with the desire really to be completely honest, coming here today was to really try for that transition to happen, as we stated back in March, that this would be over May 11th. But it has been hard. You have seen us, listening to you and really taking in what you are telling us. And so for that reason, I am going to move the county recommendations with one caveat. I know there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I'd want to add to that an extension of this program for 6 weeks.
Second.
And I have a second. I want to add to that extension for 6 weeks. Let me just say this. Everything that I heard today, I don't know if it'll be resolved in 6 weeks. So it is time to not rest on that, but to amp up this transition. Because I can say it will probably, if it passes today, it probably won't go past that. And that, I just want to manage that expectation, because we have to work on that transition in a real way from here on out. I also, included in those recommendations, I just want to modify number 3 briefly to make that funding towards the housing commissions, the separate cities, still a bit flexible. And so I will read item number 3 in the way that I'm thinking about changing it and adding it to this motion, modifying what's in the board letter. Number 3, to provide direction for supporting local housing authorities by establishing appropriations of $4.6 million in the Office of Emergency Services and Supplies from the General Fund Reserve, to provide funding to the San Diego Housing Commission, National City Housing Authority, and City of Oceanside Housing Authority. Funding to the housing authorities would provide financial assistance to households transitioning out of ETL into permanent housing for residents within their respective housing authority jurisdiction, and would require, here's where I wanted to change, a written commitment from the housing authorities and commissions and their respective, and would require a written commitment from the cities and their respective housing authorities to demonstrate they will or have provided matching resources equal to county contribution of either financial assistance or in-kind services dedicated to assisting January 22nd flood survivors. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas would like me to read her statement at this time. Her statement is coming up on the screen, and it reads, "The tragic impact of the January 22nd flood has touched us all, and in particular, those of us who have worked tirelessly over the years for the betterment of our communities of color, emphasizing the importance of investing in our communities through the lens of equity. That is why we advocated that the County of San Diego take the unprecedented step to provide emergency temporary housing, and then built upon that original action to extend the time frame of the emergency temporary housing and provide food options for those in the county program. This has not been done before here in the region for disaster. I'm grateful for the support of my colleagues in allocating nearly $20 million to this effort, and to the over 300 county team members who have stepped up to help their community members in their hour of need. With the support of our county team, we will ensure that those who need continued assistance are being given the tools they need to rebuild. We will continue to support our communities." And with that, the chairwoman had indicated she would like to support the recommendations from staff with Supervisor Montgomery Stepp's amendments to second the motion by Supervisor Desmond. Seconded. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to Supervisor Desmond.
Well, thank you, Chair, and Monica, for your words. It's true that a lot of people are trying to work on this and to get things done, and we have to acknowledge and recognize them. But people in the audience, you shouldn't have to be here today. You really shouldn't have to be here. You should be with your family, with your pets, with your kids. You should be. This is, to have to come and beg, this is just degrading. So, I'm supporting the extension, and I think it puts to the county about $30 million in if I'm doing the math correctly, it's $30 million. But I keep hearing, this is caused by a flood. And one of the callers, it wasn't a flood, it was negligence. It was negligence on your neighborhood. It was negligence on you. So one of the things that really, I came to this meeting going to be supporting the staff's recommendation, but primarily because the city hasn't put anything in the game. The city hasn't done anything for you. And you're in their jurisdiction. And so know that this is coming from our hearts. And that, you know, you got to me. But you shouldn't have to be here to do that. One of the things that the mayor, in his draft budget, has got $0 for you in the next draft budget. So, you know, last time I said it, you should vote the guy out of office, and I think you should do it again. So, sorry, Chair. Okay, so I want to thank and commend our interim CAO, Sarah, and the county staff in the manner they communicated with the city. And in light of their lack of leadership at the city, the willingness to support your residents here for this issue. So I'm really sorry that you had to come here and do this. Hopefully we can get this resolved. Hopefully we can get in 6 weeks. But I really think hopefully you're giving the same passion and same talk to your representatives at the city, and they're feeling it, because I can't believe they can just let you hang out there and be in the situation that you're in. So good luck. Thanks.
Vice. Again, we'll ask you to please refrain from clapping. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer.
Sure. First of all, I wanted to thank everyone for coming and sharing your stories. And this is not right. It's not right. And it's not right that there was such a huge failure of investments in our community, and you've been left, you know, to suffer. And I'm very happy we have been able to step forward. I'm happy to support sort of the additional extension suggested by my colleague. But I also want to echo what my other colleague, Supervisor Desmond, said, which is this is $30 million that we're supposed to be spending on things like behavioral health, mental health treatment. We've got, you know, a lot of folks that are really in need of those kinds of services, and we're, you know, now being asked to step up, and I'm happy to do it. I think you guys need it and you deserve it, but it's not right. I'm not happy that we're in this position today. I think we need to do a lot better in the future to make the investments on the front end to make sure that we don't have entire regions of our cities and counties that are just flooding because we haven't built the streets and the stormwater repair that we should have been doing for decades and decades. I was actually taking a look at some of the past reports, and it's been going back like 30, 40 years of reports saying that this was a flood zone and needed more infrastructure investment, and nobody stepped up, and it hasn't happened. And now it's not a surprise. It's just an unfair and terribly unfair tragedy that you all are dealing with. So happy to support this today. And, you know, we have reserves, and they're supposed to be here for real emergencies, for rainy days. This is definitely a rainy day. It was a very rainy day. So, you know, I think that's what we're here for. But we really need to be clear that, you know, 6 weeks is 6 weeks. You know, we can't be coming back. We got to create another plan. And so I really hope that these other investments that we're making in terms of transitioning folks to get into longer term housing solutions can help make sure that that 6 weeks really is going to be enough time and enough runway to get people a roof over their heads, because this, like I said, you know, we can't be cutting our behavioral health investments and mental health and addiction treatment. So anyway, there's a lot to say, but I am so sorry for everything everyone's going through, and my heart goes out to you, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you.
Supervisor Anderson.
I just have a couple quick questions. Just for the record, Sarah, how many of the flood victims actually are our purview, that we have authority over, that they're our responsibility?
6%. Supervisor.
I'll ask you next, but I'm asking Sarah now.
It is 6%, and if you'd like the total, I
So,
think does the team.
well, the point, though, is when my district burned down,
Yes.
the county failed to do anything for us. That was a different board, a different time. Most of you are not in our districts. You're in our district, but you're not our purview. We don't control your land use. We don't fix your gullies. We don't clean out your gutters. That's the city, not us. So I just want to point that out because we're trying to be kind, and we say, well, we should have done this. Well, actually, Kara, we did do it. That's why we have so few of the problems, because if you were to look at the floods, the last time we had a flood, Spring Valley was at the top of the list. It's not on the top of the list today. Yes, I'm so sorry for the 40 families that were impacted or so, but it wasn't hundreds. And this is why we have to be observant when you're looking at elected officials. Are they preparing for your future, or are they just making you happy today? This is complicated stuff. I'm happy to support it today, but I want to make sure that people understand we're being good neighbors, because none of my district's been impacted, but I assure you before the year's out, we're going to have fires in my district, and I'm going to want that same help. And it'll be very disappointing if we have to say we don't have any money because we gave it to the city of San Diego and they failed to fix one thing, when we're working so hard and investing such money in infrastructure. And I want to say kudos to my colleagues and to our previous chair, because he was part of the solution of making the county much more responsive to their constituents, our constituents. So with that, I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. We'll turn it back to our CIO.
Thank you so much. We do need the appropriation of the $9 million for the additional 6 weeks. That would take us to June 21st is the end date. So I'm assuming that Supervisor Montgomery's step is part of your motion.
Yes, that is part of the motion.
Thank you. With that noted, we have a motion by Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, seconded by Supervisor Desmond. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors being present and voting aye. Next item on the agenda for discussion is item 29, reconsideration of ensuring continued access to medication-based abortion treatment for San Diegans. Agenda item 21 from April 9th, 2024. I would like to note that this item is a reconsideration of an item that came before the board on April 9th, 2024. Under the board's rules of procedure, following public comment, the board will consider a motion to approve the reconsideration, which is recommendation 1 in the board letter. If there is a motion second and it is approved by majority vote, then the board may consider the remainder of the recommendations 2 through 4. At this time, we'll begin with public comment. We have 15 requests to speak on this item, 6 in person, 9 requesting to speak by phone. For those that requested to speak on item 29 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers, starting with the speaker in favor, followed by the speakers in opposition. I'd like to invite forward Michelle Krug. And Michelle will be followed by the speakers in opposition, Mark, allegedly Audra, Paul, Pam, Brian Rumbaugh, and Gambler. If I've called your name, please come forward. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to state your name for the audio record.
Muchas gracias, de todo corazón. Thank you so much.
All right, still Brian Rumbaugh. So we're talking about pretty much RU 486, right? Is that right? The abortion one? That's right. You know, when I look at this society, and I really do see kind of the prevalence of abortion. Make no mistake, I am pro-choice. I have said that in front of this board before, but I'm certainly not pro-abortion. I know that that's one of these issues that it's, choose a side and die on it. That's that divide and conquer that Consuelo seems to, always get herself kicked out of here for. But it pains my heart that we live in a society where that is exactly, how we treat each other. We were given very simple instructions: be fruitful, multiply. Okay, I mean, I can talk about being fruitful. I can talk about, I was just in the hallway there talking about how, that beating that you guys just took, and I'm glad you extended those for those people, Jim. That was a tough situation, the last item. Okay, I do appreciate that. But more or less, if we would have handled things in a little bit of a quicker way, as opposed to waiting for that FEMA guy to come in and declare those homes unlivable, then you wouldn't have had to have even gone through that. In other words, society taking care of it, being our brother's keeper. I have a big problem when we've got, over the last 49 years, the statistic that I saw less than a week ago, 60 million babies that have been aborted. We can talk about, marriage, sex out of wedlock. We can talk about rape. We can talk about incest. But, all in all, these are, once again, societal problems. Government can't legislate morality.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Pam, big fat no on this. Tara, you continue to push the agenda of killing more and more babies through every and any abortion method. Nora and Monica claim to help marginalized communities of color, but ignore the most vulnerable, babies being killed by abortion in those communities. Over 1 million total abortions were provided through the U.S. healthcare system in 2023, 1 million. Those are just the ones Planned Parenthood counted. This county continues to devalue humanity and dehumanize women. Tara and Nora, along with Nathan Fletcher, you changed the definition of a woman to include men. Since this agenda item is about the over-the-counter abortion pill without a prescription needed, let's seriously look at this issue through your agenda of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know Dr. McDonald will not respond to me, but perhaps Tara and Nora, you could ask him to address the data and science, the safety studies of the use of the abortion pill in transgender women. What is the mechanism of action of this pill? What is the effect on the body of a transgender woman? And from what body orifice is the destroyed embryonic or fetal tissue expelled? We all know the answer. Men are not and can never be women. But given the mental disorder or the sexual fetish of men pretending to be women, there must be the consideration of their use of the over-the-counter abortion pill and any adverse effect that can occur. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Well, some of you are complicit in the falsehoods and the disinformation of the moment. And will the abortive tissue be filtered in the region's pure water program, making it drinking water? Will abortive tissue be filtered out along with the wastewater? Who's going to drink that water? God places special value on human life in every stage of development and need. Take a stand and vote no.
Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra. It's sad that we can sit here and determine which lives are more important over others. That children can be ripped apart limb by limb in the womb. And that's called reproductive health care. There's a problem in society because it's like you act like, people have the right to life, but only some people. And someone can determine whether one is more valuable than another. And it's sad because it's like, that shouldn't be things that you guys decide. And like the spark of life happens at conception. It's a beautiful thing. And we call these, children just clumps of cells, right? So it's okay if we rip them apart limb by limb or just don't give them a chance to flourish. I mean, people even want children or 18-year-olds to be aborted as well. And we can do it outside of the womb. That's murder. But as long as we call it reproductive health care, right, you can put it under a term where it's like, it's okay to murder people. It's really sad to see where society has gone. And it's nice that you guys gave him 6 more weeks, but you could have done better. People shouldn't have to beg for help. But they do. And you guys aren't the ones begging for help. But you do reap what you sow. And you will have to face our Maker. And hopefully he doesn't say, turn away from me. I know.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I heard my name, but I don't know what it is.
Yes, come on up, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle Krug. I actually really want to thank you for taking this position of protecting women's lives, whether they're clearly from California or elsewhere, that we need this opportunity. What's going on in our country is crazy, and we need to have safe harbors and safe space, and I'm really proud of San Diego County for taking this stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Final call for Gambler or Mark.
World is very crazy right now.
I'll ask you to please state your name.
Gambler here. Whoops, wrong one. Sorry, my bad. My bad. Here we go. This is a better one.
Back to work, let the school system parent your children right from the birth. Make them meal, feed them pills, confuse them about what's real. Tell them facts don't really matter, it's all about how you feel. Science and math erases, history let's erase it. Indoctrinate a whole generation, you can't escape it. It's bigger than American politics, you're an accomplice. White people, racists and bigots, and you're a colonist. If you were freedom with the courage to do the opposite, it's toxic
I bet you that is happening at every single homeless facility. Why don't you look into it, Michaelville? Why won't you look into people helping out the homeless, re-registering them, and voting for them? Why won't you look into that, Michael? Please, can you please look into it and look for the fraud?
Justin, I'm going to ask you to please stay on topic. This is item 29. Please stay on topic.
Okay. You guys were elected illegally?
Children that men can't get pregnant.
She went ahead and...
No, Mr. Smith. And did you tell all the white children that they are racist? And colonizers and bigots, yeah.
Why do you guys not give a shit about what we have to say? Seriously. Why do you guys call the cops every single time I come in here to ask questions? Why is that? Why is it that you guys hit the panic button only because I want answers to my questions? I'm seriously curious about that because I've asked questions on almost every single issue, and you guys turn me away all the time. You're not supposed to be able to do that at all. That's why your cease and desist orders are bullshit. I wipe my ass with them.
We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
Good afternoon. My name is Judy Vaz. I'm the Public Affairs Manager at Planned Parenthood Action Fund of the Pacific Southwest. I would like to thank Karen Lawson-Mamer for introducing this important resolution. All people deserve access to safe and legal abortion, including abortion medication. 60% of abortions are done with medication. Our country has faced numerous attacks and bans on abortion care, and we must do everything we can to affirm our rights as individuals and expand reproductive health services, including abortion medication. I urge this board to vote yes on this resolution. Abortion is a safe and legal medical procedure. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Bold. Given the alarming side effects of these medicines, we need a better alternative than just medicines. I pose this. The board letter and resolution should mention the importance of non-medicinal treatments. What did indigenous people and all do over the last centuries? This letter mentions mifepristone and misoprostol, and you need to look at reputable medical sources which list all of the side effects, not just a few. Mifepristone side effects: abdominal or stomach pain or uterine cramping, back pain, chest pain or discomfort, confusion, diarrhea, dizziness, fast weak pulse, fever, chills, headache, nausea or vomiting, heavy bleeding including blood clots, sour stomach, anxiety, belching, cough, fainting or lightheadedness when getting up from lying or sitting position, fever, flu-like symptoms, headache, heartburn, increased clear or white vaginal discharge, indigestion, itching of the vagina or genital area, lack or loss of strength, pain during sexual intercourse, pain or tenderness around the eyes and cheekbones, pain or discomfort in the arms, jaw, neck, or side, painful or difficult urination, pain, pale, cold or clammy skin, shaking, chills, stomach discomfort, upset, or pain, stuffy or runny nose, tightness of the chest, trouble sleeping, trouble breathing, unusual tiredness or weakness, shortness of breath, sudden increase in stomach or shoulder pain, sweating, unusual or large amount of vaginal bleeding. Misoprostol side effects: shivering, chills, diarrhea, abdominal.
Now hear from the next caller.
Kevin Stevenson. Isn't it interesting how every single freaking time that the word abortion is mentioned in an agenda item, all of the pro-forced birth lunatics come out and spew their crap about, oh, abortion is murder. Oh, what about the life of the baby? First off, not a baby. It's a fetus. A fetus. A fetus does not have brain power. It does not have feelings. It cannot feel pain, and it cannot live independent outside the womb. That's for starters. Second, I would like to point out that if you're genuinely pro-life and you're genuinely concerned about other people being killed, well, there's tens of thousands of dead civilians in Gaza right now that are being slaughtered on our taxpayer dime. But interestingly enough, I don't hear any of you right-wingers pointing that out. You're interestingly silent when it comes to brown people being murdered, actually murdered, like living people who are breathing and alive. Also, one thing I would just like to point out last time, just a reminder that last time this was up for a vote, Jim Desmond, my county supervisor, voted against it because he wants to run for Congress or some form of higher office someday and wants to run as a far-right lunatic. Look no further than his media tour on Newsmax and other right-wing outlets lately. So he's going to vote no on this, I already know, but we have the vote. Please pass this item because Prop 1 got 64% of the vote in 2022. San Diego County is pro-choice by a big margin. Do not let the fringe speak for the rest of us. They're crazy.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Julie Martinez. I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for your bravery in presenting this because women deserve the right to choose their own destiny. In addition to that, they have the right to choose how they are medically treated. It should never be, abortion rights should never be politicized. It's a difficult decision for humans, parents, family members to make this decision. But the point is, it is their right, and it is their decision. Pregnancy in itself is imperfect, and various complications that threaten the health and well-being of the mother and fetus will arise. The United States currently possesses the highest rate of maternal mortality of high-income countries. The risk of dying from childbirth is high. Please do not allow fringe groups to impose their beliefs on women's right to health care and on women's right to choose their own path when determining their individual system, ideas and systems for their own personal health care. Please allow this to pass. Please protect this very important medicine that does allow for a medically induced abortion. And again, thank you to the board for your bravery and for your concern for the constituents of San Diego County. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hi, my name is Lorraine Escate. I want to thank the Board of Supervisors. I'm calling in support of item 29. I'm calling because medical abortion is incredibly safe and effective, offering women a reliable option to terminate pregnancies in a non-invasive manner. And I think that especially in light of what's happening in Arizona and all of the bans, I think it's incredibly important that we ensure access here, as our clinics are already going to be inundated if they aren't already. It's crucial to provide unrestricted access to this medication, especially as neighboring states strip away reproductive rights. With medical abortion, individuals can exercise their autonomy with decisions about their bodies without interference. By ensuring access to medical abortion, we uphold the fundamental right to reproductive freedom and protect women's health from harmful restrictions. It's imperative to champion abortion rights as an essential aspect of healthcare and bodily autonomy, especially in the face of regressive policies everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hi, my name is Kat Tessero. I'm a community organizer at Planned Parenthood Action Fund of the Pacific Southwest. And firstly, I wanted to thank Vice Chair Lawson-Remer for bringing this to the Board of Supervisors again. I really don't think our electeds get thanked enough for the good work y'all do, and I'm shocked at every meeting how people treat all of you, so thank you. I'm calling in support of item 29. It is vital that we protect reproductive freedom and choice locally as we see what is happening nationally. With what is happening at the Supreme Court, the drug could become in higher demand, making it more difficult to obtain. While we have abortion in our Constitution thanks to Prop 1, that doesn't mean it is accessible to everyone who needs it, especially those who are rural, Black, and brown San Diegans. This is where access to medication abortion is necessary. This is a life-saving medication for pregnant people. This isn't a religious issue. This is a healthcare issue. I urge you to vote yes in support of ensuring continued access to medication abortion treatment for San Diegans. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hey, it's truth. How does anyone know if a fetus doesn't feel pain unless they are the fetus? That sounds like racist dehumanization of brown babies by fringe lunatics. Anyway, hinge cringe Tara is turning back the clock on this failed item because she couldn't stall her way out of it last time. I do appreciate that more information was added to back up what I said. For example, that the DOJ, Biden, and a private company, Danco, worked a conspiracy to push this baby-killing drug and, at times, pregnant woman-killing drug. Last year, Danco Labs paid out $765,000 with interest to the U.S. government to settle a lawsuit that alleged that from 2011 to 2019, they failed to properly label the drug being made in China, skirting customs duties and checks. Then just a couple of days later, Biden said that abortion-causing drugs need to be protected. Politicians are scared they'll lose their abortion pill when the money trail is all exposed. W. Brad Daniel, La Jolla-based Joseph Pike, who later pled guilty to a forgery charge, Greg Hopkins from Solomon Brothers, Biofarm Investments, Shiroyama LLC, and a million other front firms are involved. Even the generic mifepristone maker, Gin BioPro, has a big contract agreement with Planned Parenthood Southeast because there's big money in murder. Mifepristone goes back to the 1980s from the company Rousseau Class, who wanted it discontinued, but the French government forced its production. In 1994, the company then donated all rights to the drug to the Population Council, which was founded by John Rockefeller, a racist eugenicist, the same as racist Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood. Population Council then gave it to New York-based Danko Labs, which only has a P.O. box and does not disclose any of its board members. Big investors are big profits. This company even had this drug approved via a secret meeting with the FDA. Real safe. And for the record, there's no such thing as a childbearing person. There's only pregnant women. So quit the discrimination and recognize women in all their childbearing glory. Thank you.
Again, Justin, you're disrupting the proceedings. I'll ask you to please stop. Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hi, this is Samantha Schwimmer. Good afternoon, Supervisors. I'm the chair of the board of the San Diego Coalition for Reproductive Justice, although today I'm speaking as an individual. I'm here today to urge the board to ensure continued access to medication-based abortion treatment for all San Diegans. As a trained abortion doula, I've seen firsthand the importance of safe access to abortion medication. This is especially true in parts of our county where folks don't live in close proximity to an abortion provider. Medication abortion allows people to have the right to safe abortions in the comfortable environment of their homes. With fewer side effects than Tylenol and Viagra, medication abortion is an essential reproductive health option. We know that when abortion access is restricted, this has the biggest impact on BIPOC, queer, and low-income communities, and taking steps to ensure a supply of mifepristone and misoprostol is in line with the county's commitment to equity. Beyond abortion care, mifepristone is also recommended by medical experts such as the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists as part of the superior medication treatment regimen for miscarriage care. With increasing restrictions on abortion care, we have seen an increasing need for reproductive care in our region, and I commend the board for taking this important step to protect abortion access in our county. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that concludes public comment on this item. Again, as indicated at the start, this item is a reconsideration of an item that came before the board on April 9th, 2024. Under the board's rules of procedure, the board will first consider a motion to approve the reconsideration, which is recommendation 1 in the board letter. If there is a motion second and it is approved by majority vote, then the board may consider the remainder of the recommendations 2 through 4. At this time, is there a motion to approve the reconsideration of this item?
Happy to move.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, a second by Chairwoman Vargas. Please vote. Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes with Supervisor Anderson and Supervisors Desmond voting no, all other supervisors being present and voting aye. The board may now consider the recommendations 2 through 4. I'll turn it over to Vice Chair Lawson-Remer.
Thank you so much. Thank you to my colleagues for supporting the reconsideration. We are here today because just in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a near total abortion ban in Arizona, which will be devastating for individuals seeking reproductive health care and is going to have direct impacts to our state for those who now have to travel here to receive care. And in states where abortion is already outlawed, there are devastating impacts to individuals unable to access the medication and the care that they need. Sometimes resulting in hospitalization and in the worst case, death. And that's why it is absolutely imperative that California and the County of San Diego double down to ensure that we help secure access to reproductive health care necessary for residents of our region and folks who may have to travel here from their home states. With this particular case regarding mifepristone, we are seeing right now in Washington FDA-approved courses of treatment being threatened by a conservative, right-wing Supreme Court with an anti-abortion agenda. Mifepristone has been on the market for over 20 years. It is widely used, it's safe, and it not only terminates early-stage pregnancy, but is also utilized often for those suffering pregnancy losses. If the Supreme Court rules, as we fear they might, this would impact states even like ours, such as California, and locally San Diego, because we would no longer be able to access these vital medications. And while the oral arguments seem hopeful in our case, we cannot be apathetic about reproductive rights and fighting for access to care for our residents. And so that is why I'm asking for my colleagues' support on this item being reintroduced today, so we can assure that all of our rights for those seeking reproductive health care continue to be secure within San Diego County. And with that, I would like to make a motion to approve the balance of the items on this agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas would like me to read her statement. As is coming up on the screen, it reads, as a 30-year champion of reproductive justice, I am appalled that women's reproductive rights are being threatened every day. Abortion is health care. I am saddened that in 2024, women are still having to fight for basic health care access. Access to medication-based abortion is fundamental to reproductive rights and health care. In recent years, we have seen a failure to protect reproductive rights, starting with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Extremists and politicized courts are threatening the right to bodily autonomy. No person besides the individual experience in pregnancy should decide what happens with their body. Reproductive justice means individuals can make personal choices without interference or political manipulation. As a strong advocate for health care and reproductive justice, I am proud to support this item. I would like to second the motion to approve the item. Thank you. So with that, we have a motion by Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, seconded by Chairwoman Vargas. Please vote. Chairwoman Vargas, that motion passes with Supervisors Anderson and Desmond voting no, all other supervisors being present and voting aye. We'll now move on to discussion item 21, a notice public hearing, an ordinance amending Article 20 of the San Diego County Administrative Code. If we could, we'll just pause for 1 minute, please. We'll resume with item 21. Again, this is entitled An Ordinance Amending Article 20 of the San Diego County Administrative Ordinance Code relating to San Diego County Emergency Medical Services fees. Now hand the floor to County team for a presentation.
Good evening, Chairwoman Vargas and members of the board. The Emergency Medical Services Office is the Board of Supervisors' designated local EMS agency, which provides high-quality, coordinated, data-driven, and readily accessible EMS system with patient-centered focus. There are several fee-based services within the EMS office that facilitate timely and equitable medical care from appropriately credentialed and trained personnel and support inspection of private ambulance vehicles and specialized hospital facilities. In order to keep pace with the cost of these services, the board is asked to consider two options for increasing fees. The proposed increases are a result of a time and cost study on all 8 existing EMS office fees, with the addition of 1 fee. With me today is Jeff Collins, Director of County Fire, and Andy Parr, Emergency Medical Services Administrator, who will provide an overview of the proposed fee adjustments related to the EMS office. I'll now turn the presentation over to Andy.
Thank you, Holly. The current set of 8 fees within the EMS office impacts EMS personnel, private ambulance companies, continuing education providers, and designated specialty care hospitals. The EMS office credentials emergency medical technicians on behalf of the state, provides paramedic accreditation for medics who work in San Diego County, and authorizes nurses who work in base hospitals called mobile intensive care nurses. Each year, the EMS office receives approximately 5,000 EMS credential applications, reviewed by a team of 5 dedicated staff, usually completed within 3 business days. The EMS office's responsibility is to assure that EMS personnel applications and renewals receive the appropriate review with the safety and health of the public as our highest priority. The pre-hospital standards team provides oversight of the private ambulance industry in San Diego County by annually permitting providers, both air and ground, and inspecting over 500 ambulances each year. Air ambulance permitting is one of the new fees being proposed. We currently conduct inspections without a charge for staff time. The county EMS office designates base station hospitals and trauma centers per statute. Base hospitals provide ambulance crews with direct physician access and consultation, receive patient notification, and offer first-line quality assurance. San Diego County EMS providers encounter approximately 250,000 calls a year, with that number split between the 7 base hospitals. The EMS office work includes quality assurance and quality improvement reviews, policy and protocol development, program coordination, meeting support and attendance, epidemiological data analysis, as well as hospital compliance with contractual statements of work. There are 7 base hospitals and 6 trauma centers in San Diego County. The EMS fees were increased in 2021 based on time and cost data from fiscal year 1920, with the EMS personnel fee increase being phased over a 3-year period. Changes to base hospital, trauma center, continuing education, and ambulance inspection fees were last done in 2022, again using a time and cost study from the 2021 data. In reviewing the current fees, we recognize that full cost recovery was not being achieved. The current annual fee revenue is approximately $1.1 million. However, the cost to provide these services is double that amount. In accordance with Board Policy B29, a comprehensive study was completed to fully capture the time spent on each service and the updated county salary and benefit costs. Based on the study, we have brought forward a fee package that adjusts all 8 fees and adds 1 new fee. The auditor and controller have reviewed and approved the supporting documentation and methodology for the proposed fee adjustments. Since some of the fee adjustments were significant, we have presented 2 options. Option A approves the full increase, and Option B phases the increases over 3 years. With both options, we will return to the board each year with adjustments that reflect updated time and costs for each service. Should the board choose not to increase the fees, the EMS office programs will be supported by fees will remain partly funded with general purpose dollars, and a waiver of Board P29 will be required. In addition to the 9 fees included in today's board action, the county EMS office will also review other services that are provided to determine if it is suitable and reasonable to establish new fees. By reviewing other services and related costs, the county EMS office may return next year with additional new fees, which could further reduce the dependence on general purpose revenue. And I'll turn the presentation over to Jeff.
Thank you, Andy. Should the board approve option A, this chart details the fee increase for each service. The most substantial increases are being proposed to the permit application for private ambulance providers and the base hospital designation. 5 of the 7 base hospitals are also trauma centers, and it's important to recognize that trauma centers get funding from traffic and criminal penalty assessments, which is then used to pay for the costs of both designations. The continuing education provider fee is only collected once every 4 years, and the previous fee was being undercharged based on 1 year of staff time and the costs instead of 4 years. With option A, the revenue would increase from $1.1 million this year to approximately $2.3 million next year. In option A, we achieve full cost recovery and compliance with Board Policy B29 in fiscal year 24-25, and fees will be reviewed annually to stay in compliance. This chart for option B details the fees, the fee revisions for the first year. In option B, all 8 fees are increased in fiscal year 24-25, and all 9 fees will achieve full cost recovery after a 3-year phase-in. Achieving compliance with Board Policy B29 will be at the end of year 3. With option B, the revenue would increase from $1.1 million this year to approximately $1.6 million next year. Even with a phased approach, all EMS fees will be studied and adjusted annually. I'll now turn the presentation back over to Holly.
Thank you, Jeff. Today's request includes two options. In option A, the recommendations are as follows. Request the board to approve the introduction of option A ordinance amending sections of the San Diego County Administrative Code related to EMS fees. If the board takes actions as recommended, then on May 21st, 2024, the proposed ordinance will be brought back to the board for consideration and adoption. Option A would achieve full cost recovery and compliance with board policy B29 in fiscal year 24-25. Option B includes two recommendations. Waive board policy B29, which requires full cost recovery. The second recommendation is for the board to approve the introduction of option B ordinance amending sections of the San Diego County Administrative Code relating to EMS fees. If the board takes actions as recommended, then on May 21st, 2024, the proposed ordinance will be brought back to the board for consideration and adoption. Option B is the 3-year phased-in increase to the 8 existing fees plus 1 new fee to achieve full cost recovery and compliance with board policy B29 by the end of 3 years. And that concludes our presentation, subject to your questions.
Thank you. We'll now hear from individuals that requested to speak on item 21. We have 6 requests to speak on this item, 4 in person, 2 requesting to speak by phone. For any members of the public that requested to speak on item 21 by phone, please dial into the conference line using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. All speakers are in opposition to this item. As your name is called, please come forward. Mark, allegedly Audra, Bryant Rumbaugh, and Gambler. If I've called your name, please come forward. You'll have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record.
Gambler here. Thank you. I'm fully aware that this is just a big waste of time. You guys aren't really paying attention to what we have to say. You don't want to address the concerns that I have regarding the election or anything. Matter of fact, anytime I ask questions, you call the cops on me. I have a major issue with that. Humongous issue with that. But you guys are in charge, right? And it doesn't really matter anymore. So as soon as I could get access to all the homeless voters' signatures, I'm going to go ahead and compare them and see how many of them look identical. Then we're going to go ahead and figure out why that is. Because I know Michael Vu did his due diligence to make sure that voter fraud in a vote by mail.
Justin, I'm going to ask you to stay on topic. If you continue to stay off topic, it'll be disruptive.
Are you guys elected? Curiosity. Tara, are you elected? Are you elected? Yes or no? Are you elected? Yes or no?
Please stay on topic.
On topic is everything that you are doing. You are not doing it for the people. You are doing it for your constituents. And that's what I'm trying to prove, that you are not abiding by the people. You are abiding by your lobbyists.
I want to remind you, you've had 2 warnings. If you receive a third, you'll be asked to leave the chamber.
For what? I'm not. Issue number 21, you guys are going to vote on it. You guys were voted in, correct? Elections. All this has to do with elections, correct? So if you guys don't want to take elections seriously, then what are we doing here? It's all a joke. You act as if it's a joke. You are on your phone 90% of the time. You don't pay attention to a word that fucking anyone says. Fucking cunt.
Next speaker, please.
All right, still Brian Rumbaugh. I am here to try to make a difference. I know at times it doesn't quite come out like that. You know, there is a lot of things that, let's just say, that I really can't necessarily talk about. But I am coming here because I do appreciate the fact of what America offered, and I do think that we do need to remain, let's just say, fiscally conservative. You know, I know the item that we have where we're talking about the Health and Human Services, all their fees that are going to be bumped up, additional fees. You know, we're talking about solvency. They talked about that. You know, solvency is important. I definitely, the last time I talked to you guys about this item when it was previously read, you know, I told you that I was a big fan of essentially the volunteer fire department. You know, that a responsible society. I mean, we kind of divulged into we're all part of a system here. Even the guy like me coming up here trying to say, hey, people, let's maybe reevaluate things and come up with a better solution. Nobody wants to come up here and beat the shit out of you people, okay? But it's our only option, okay? And I don't try to do that, okay? And I do respect all of you. These are frustrating times, okay? I definitely can say that what you guys put up with, I get it. It's a lot. Jim has acknowledged that this system needs to be improved. I am wholly intentional in trying to get the message out on how we can do it. And it starts, what's so funny about it? Hey, we got to take the money out of politics. We got to create an engaged society. We got to learn to respect one another. We need to teach morality. Obviously, that's a lesson unlearned to a lot of people.
Next speaker, please.
My person uses the name Audra. It's really sad to see just the way things go. And, you know, it's like we just keep upping fees and hope that people can just afford medical care, which it's like, it's more death care, really. So, I mean, if they went out of business, it would be good. Because it's not about making people healthy or doing all these things. Everything is about control. And as long as we just keep upping the fees just to provide a service, you know, people aren't even, they're going to have to choose between what they can get and what they can't. And it's sad because it's like all you guys sitting up there on your dais, you don't have to worry about the same things that everybody else does that comes here and tries to talk to you guys. And it's sad because it's like if you could be in a position like that, you would understand. But because you're always up here, right? And then you got the people down here, you're always going to be looking down on them and never really standing level with them and having compassion for them and representing them. You guys don't represent the people. You represent yourselves and whoever you're doing the bidding for. And it's sad. That's why people come in here and they beg you. They shouldn't have to. And then you give them just a little bit and they think, oh, that's so great. But you could do way more. And if you were in a position like them, you would be like, let's do more. But instead it's like, we'll give you just enough to suffice you, to pacify you. And it's sad. And that's the only reason you should be on a level with everybody else. Because you're no better than us. You just act like it.
Thank you. Final call for Mark. We'll now hear from the individuals that requested to speak by phone. We'll start with our first caller.
It's Truth, back from Sandag. Last year, 3 EMS fees already went up. Now we got 8 fees going up. That'd be 3 going up again, plus a brand new fee, costing the people of the county $2.3 million more. Is this another blame inflation increase? Electricity goes up, water goes up, and now the price of receiving health care services is going up. Because when certifications and accreditations go up by $87, that means there's going to be fewer people who can afford to meet the qualifications required. And when ambulance applications go up by over $11,000, hospital designations go up by almost $50,000, and trauma center designations go up by over $20,000, these fee increases will inevitably be passed on to the people who require the services. How are people going to afford that? because spreading fees or price increases doesn't actually help unless people start making a ton more money, and they're not. In order to avoid all the fee increases, I'm going to recommend cutting back on the services people don't need, such as providing epidemiological research, trend identification, and clinical effectiveness metrics, and linking pre-hospital data to the state of California and specialty care registries. That'd probably save a lot of money and offset any supposed required fee increases. What's interesting is that the cities that have left the county's EMS circle of control, SANDAG, are doing much better. And they did it much faster. You know why? Local control. But that's something that you here at the county don't know anything about, as you supervisors are always accepting those state and federal debt dollars in exchange for doing whatever they demand. And that disenfranchises people here of proper representation, leaving them with things they never asked for, such as these fee increases to receive basic medical services. So until government gets itself out of the hospital business, prices will continue to rise every year. But why is government in business? See the sustainability statement, quote, "This allows for ensuring the long-term solvency and fiscal stability of these and other county services," end quote. Nothing but business as usual. It's corporatized government. No thanks. I disapprove.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that concludes public comment on this item.
Thank you so much. Supervisor Desmond?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Appreciate it. I spoke with a couple of hospitals in my district, and they understand the cost recovery and the fees going up, but they had asked me if I could support the recommendation B, instead of it all happening at once. For base hospital designation, the cost would go up almost 3 times, from $24,000 almost $75,000. And so I'm going to put in a recommendation or make a motion for supporting item B, that we ramp this up over 3 years instead of doing it all in one shot. Thanks.
Thank you. I actually just have a couple questions. First of all, I appreciate and strongly support the move to full cost recovery. I think this is very wise, particularly when we're facing the kinds of trade-offs that we're facing, as has been evidenced by the votes we've had to take today. So I appreciate this. I think this is great. Just wanted to better understand why some of our items are such significant increases. There were just a few that jumped out at me, like the ambulance permit application, the continuing education provider, those two in particular that just were massively, seem to be massively undercharged compared to the actual cost.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman. I can certainly address the questions. Specifically for the overall, I think we've done a more thorough job with capturing the amount of staff time with each one of these services that was done in previous studies. The EMS office came over to County Fire in 2021. 2022 was the first time that these fees came before the board under County Fire. Since then, we've done a rather thorough job in evaluating the amount of time and costs associated with each one of these services. In addition, the last time we did a complete study was based on 2019-2020 data. And so there's been a significant increase in the overall county costs since that time. But for the most part, it was related to fully capturing the amount of staff time that is associated with each one of these fees.
And in your outreach to hospitals and other users, did you hear any significant concerns?
We heard something that's similar to what Supervisor Desmond had heard, is the desire to spread this out over 3 years rather than all at once. But that was the most significant feedback that we got.
Were there any particular groups that were more vociferous in that regard?
My understanding is the Hospital Association sent in a request, I think it was early this morning, recommending for the option B, to spread this out. Tri-City, I'm aware, we had specific concern during the Emergency Medical Care Committee meeting. Representative from Tri-City was there. Tri-City is a base hospital, but is not a trauma center, so it does not receive the MADI funds. So for the base hospitals, 5 of our 7 base hospitals are also trauma centers. They receive funds that are essentially from fine and forfeiture money from certain vehicle and criminal incidents. And so that covers for the base hospital designation and the trauma centers, it covers 100% of the cost for them. Tri-City and Sharp Grossmont are not trauma centers, so they did not get that funding. So it is coming out of their essentially their own pocket in order to pay for those fees.
That's helpful. I'd love to hear from my colleagues. I think my inclination is if there's specific users or entities that are specifically disadvantaged, I'd rather us move to full cost recovery across the board, and then ask you all to come back with some strategies to help out like the specific, and because as you mentioned, there's some that, can absorb this in other ways and it's covered, and then some like Tri-City where it's not. So my inclination would be for full cost recovery. I think that's the fiscally responsible thing to do kind of as an overall strategy, but then also ask you to identify if there's specific users or entities that are on which I would propose a specific hardship, and have a more targeted relief strategy for those instead of kind of just subsidizing across the board. But with that, I'm not going to make a substitute motion. I just first want to hear from my colleagues, and then we can kind of see where folks are at.
Just want to briefly, I'm inclined to support the motion on the floor, but I want to briefly ask from a staff perspective what what should we be aware of, intended and unintended consequences of that? How severe would they be, if they would be severe at all, to stagger and phase out?
So the fiscal impact to us is going to be less revenue coming into the county. And so instead of approximately 2.3 million next year, I believe it's going to be about 1.6 million. And so anytime that we're not getting full cost recovery, that is additional general funds or essentially existing general purpose dollars that we're using for the department. And so it's just a matter of phasing out those general purpose dollars over time versus all at once.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's all I have. I'll second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Can you please call the vote?
Vice Chair Lawson-Remer, that motion passes unanimously with all supervisors who are present voting aye.
Great, thank you so much. So we have a number of items remaining today on our agenda. I know our staff has had an exceedingly long day, so I am inclined to recess this and continue it tomorrow. Would that work for our county team? Fantastic. Okay, I will recess this and we will be back here tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we take it tomorrow, right? Yeah. No, that everything, including non-agenda public comment, will be tomorrow. We're recessing till tomorrow morning. Thanks.
Board will reconvene tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to continue all of the items that are remaining from today's session, and then we'll continue with the land use session.
A boss, though. Seriously.